Warning! This episode contains foul language and tasteless jokes, and makes mention of murder, accidental death, overdose, and satanic rituals.
Hi, weirdos. You are listening to Keep It Weird, the podcast for all things strange and unusual, creepy and crunchy, wild and wicked, and sometimes it can be sad. This week is our Season 5 finale. And what a better way to send us off than do a little 2021 recap. This year wasn't quite as batshit as 2020, but a lot of very weird stuff did happen, and we didn't get to cover all of it. So today is our last chance to get everything in before we say farewell. From new conspiracies to wild news stories to topics we wanted to bring to an episode but never got a chance, this episode is full of the strange and unusual. My name is Ashley, and this is my co-host Lauren.
Hello, weirdos.
And joining us today is a very special guest. It's our first time recording together in years, and the last time recording together in Los Angeles. Please welcome the hilarious, the heated, and the handsome Joe Oakes.
Hi.
Oh, hey.
Hey,
Hi.
guys.
Hey,
It's
bitches.
me. I'm here.
Hey, everybody.
He's been watching a lot of Real Housewives,
So
and
he
he's
is
here
on
to
it.
talk about
Let's
it.
go.
I am feeling sassy, bitches. Let's do this.
My favorite Joe intro that cannot be beat is when he pretended to be me one time when you guys recorded together without me, and you were like, please welcome Lauren. Hi. Hi, weirdo.
Hi, weirdo.
Like a voice that was not mine. Honestly, your regular speaking voice is the closest to mine.
Way
Yeah.
closer to your actual
Yeah.
voice. But I
It
needed
was the
to.
best.
Hi.
Hi,
Hi, this is Lauren.
I'm Lauren.
Hi, I'm feeling shy today.
It was so good.
Lauren and I are drinking champagne because it is our last time recording together in person
It's-
for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I can't really talk about it, or
No,
I'll
we
start
will
crying,
cry,
but yes,
so we
I
won't
picked
go to
up
get
some
into it.
bubbly for us, and it's actually pretty good. I didn't
actually
do
pretty
the
delicious.
$3 one, guys, so it's all right.
Yep, I'm gonna drink it all. What was I gonna say? Oh, so usually for our finale, we try and do something big, right? We try and do an investigation. We try to do listener ghost stories, but this year it's a little bit of a crunch time. Joe and I are moving.
Oh,
Nothing's gonna work out, and I was like, how could we make our 2021 wrap up a little special? And then I remembered the last time you guys were on the mic together in an episode, I think was season 2, because
God,
season
that might be
3,
true.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
you were pregnant, so
Mhm.
Joe would fill in for you
Right.
sometimes.
That was
When
a
I
hand.
was
That was
so
a handy
ill.
way to
Yeah.
give you a break and.
Because I was
yeah.
so
Season
ill.
4
yeah.
and 5, we've been separated, so Joe and I would do
Right.
stuff every once in a while. But yeah, I don't think you guys have been on together
No,
since
since-
Beatles.
Since conspiracy theories where I pissed Joe off
To
beyond
no
That's
belief
actually
with
why.
the Beatles.
That's
yeah.
actually why you left
Joe-
you left the
You left
recording
such a
studio
bad
that night and you
taste
walked
in
out
his
and I
mouth.
looked at Ashley and I said
Never
again.
Yeah. You don't ever bring that bitch
Just
back.
just
into
like
my
the
home.
Holocaust. Never again. Now look at this. Look at this embarrassment of riches. Look at all the talent we've got
Look
on
at
the
all the talent
microphone.
in
right
one
now.
room.
God, look at this. This is a great episode.
Yeah, it's
Like,
already great. You know what? We
you have
actually
the
don't
best of
even
the
have to do
best.
anything.
You know
I
what?
know.
Screw this. We're not
Actually,
Yeah.
yeah,
moving.
we'll
we
You're
can't, we
just
can't move
staying
away
forever.
from this. Too much of a good thing.
Such a good trio in this room.
Before we do get into it today, I did want to promote a couple things. Please, if you haven't already and you love our show, consider donating to our Patreon at www.patreon.com/keepitweirdpodcast, because this is how we make our money to produce this show, and this is the nest egg that will ensure we get to come back for a 6th season next year. You can donate as little as $1 and as much as $10 to our show, and in return, you'll get a shout out, bonus episodes, 2 of them a month, and a newsletter that gets sent out on the last day of every month that is full of good stuff. We will still be releasing episodes even when we are on hiatus, so it gives you the opportunity to get content when nobody else is.
That's
Suckers.
We got that bonus content coming.
Yeah, eat it, you jerks.
Yeah, eat it, jerks.
I don't know.
Speaking of shout outs, I do want to give a very warm welcome and a huge thank you to our new patrons this month, Natalie Carr, Jessica Kunzel, and Courtney Cloud. Thank you all so much.
Welcome.
That's 3 heroes right there.
Three.
Yeah.
Three
We love
hometown
you.
heroes.
I almost said American heroes, but here's the thing. Are they American? I don't know.
We don't know.
3 worldly heroes. Are they from Earth?
Worldly.
We don't know.
Might not even be human when you think
Might
about
not
it.
even be
That's true.
human.
We love you. We're thankful.
Also, just a thank you in advance for your patience and understanding over the next month as Joe and I move all of our things. Literally after this episode gets released and I finish the bonus materials this weekend, I'm putting this down until I get to Illinois, so there will be very little social media content. I will not be available to answer messages. I'm truly disappearing, so please don't think I've abandoned you or that I don't love you unconditionally. It's just a very sad and stressful time, and I will be MIA, and Lauren will do her best to keep up on social media, but she's only one woman.
I will definitely be keeping up with messages and memes. I can't promise much more, but yes, I will be able to keep up with you guys, especially on social media. I feel like that is one area where I can
You
get
thrive.
on. Yeah, I can thrive.
Yeah, you
because
truly
when Wilder
thrive.
takes a nap, I just get on and I go wild. So I will be there to answer your messages and any questions you have. But yeah, give Ashley
It'll actually
a
be,
fucking
you know
break.
what, a fun time to message us because you'll actually know who you're speaking to.
That is true. What is hilarious is nobody, first of all, ever knows who's answering them,
No.
even when we're separate. But what's even funnier is Ashley and I will respond because we're us within seconds of each other
Yeah,
and
it's
both
embarrassing.
send a response
Oh, yeah.
to people in DMs where it's like, I really like this movie. I really hate this movie back to back. And so you just never know who
You
you're
never know
gonna
who it
get.
is. Joey, do you have anything? Any old news? Any old business?
Old business.
Don't make anything up.
Hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, that means
No, he
Let's
really has
see.
something here.
Any old business?
Old since the
I
last
kinda
time you've
hope
been on
you
the
have
show.
some drama.
Do you have anything you
Do I
need
have
to?
any drama? Had a weird experience at the grocery store yesterday. Had a
Okay,
moment
well.
with a guy with a German Shepherd. It was weird.
Oh no.
Yeah, and then I thought the guy followed me. It was a weird thing. Basically,
Yikes.
long story short, when I drove home, I had noticed that a white car had followed me to our driveway, and then as soon as I got to our driveway and pulled in, I saw the car turn around, and this was after I had a weird exchange with this guy in the parking lot.
Yeah.
With his German Shepherd. The guy was obviously not dealing with a full deck of cards, but a guy's got 100-pound German Shepherd with him.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
not
not gonna mess with
I'm not
him.
gonna go
Yeah.
stepping. You know what I mean? And I thought he followed me home. So I literally pulled into my parking spot, popped the trunk, popped the tire iron out of the back, and walked into the street all right, man, let's fucking do this. I'm not going to let
Cool.
you see where I live and drive away to come attack me while I'm not here.
Damn.
But I don't think it was him.
It was just a random person.
It was just a random
what's
guy
that
picking his kid
doing?
up from daycare, and I'm out there with a tire iron what's up, man? What's up?
This is where I was gonna park, but I guess
What's
I
up?
won't.
All right.
Pretty tough with your
right.
fucking dog.
Okay, well.
And he was like, what are you talking about?
He's like, it's a stuffed animal for my child.
Well, I've never seen you before.
I just have Tommy and a polar bear in the
I'm
basement.
picking up my son. And I
Alright.
was like, yeah, now you are.
Oh,
Well,
boy.
that is a
Okay.
good lesson for everyone to always be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah,
True,
and
you
keep
know?
a tire iron in the trunk of your car
That
because
isn't a
honestly,
bad idea.
when I thought I was getting followed, I was like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of this guy. And I went
Yes.
and grabbed my tire iron. So,
Yep.
It's good to have a tool of sorts with
Yeah,
you. You
of
know,
course.
at all
but it
times,
turns
yes.
out that I think it was just a different guy.
Yeah.
Well, you know. It's okay.
That's how most of these stories end. If you're lucky, that's how these stories end.
Yeah.
If you're
Turns out
lucky,
I was
yes.
wrong.
Turns out I didn't have to hit somebody in the head with a tire iron. It was a
Twasn't.
good day.
Twasn't a serial
It was a
killer.
real good day.
All right, let's get. Please forgive me and Lauren if we belch.
Champagne.
We are drinking the
burps,
champagne.
baby.
We're going to start
In
this
honor of moving to Champagne.
in honor
Oh,
of moving
look
to
at
Champagne.
that.
How about that?
Spelled
Today
a
we're going to
little
start
differently. We love
with some weird news stories. So Lauren, what happened this year?
it. Yes, I mean a lot,
A lot
obviously, but
happened.
you know I'm not going to bore you with all of the stories. I actually wanted to start with a news story that just happened a week ago,
Oh, shit.
and maybe you guys have heard of this. I'm sure a lot of these stories we've all heard of. We're
Wait, hold
we're
on.
doing a recap.
I'm going to enhance your story. This just happened?
A week ago, we found out about this, and it's still happening.
We could
so
go close
yes.
enough. All right, are you ready to break the story?
Yes. Three people are dead and...
Damn.
No, this is real, actually.
Oh, okay.
That sounded like I was kidding. This is really scary. 3 people are dead and hundreds are injured after inclement weather roused hordes of venomous scorpions out of their hiding places and into streets and homes in Egypt.
Nightmare fuel.
Well,
Nightmare fuel. This just happened last week.
Well,
There
I wish I
was
were dead.
super intense rain, dust storms, and even snow in the southern city of Aswan. I'm sure I'm saying that
Damn.
wrong. Last week, which drove out scorpions as well as snakes, all very venomous creatures. 3 people have died from scorpion stings, and 450 people have been injured by the stings thus far, according to
Wow.
BBC News. Those who have been injured are being treated with anti-venom medications in the hospital, as well as in medical centers that are located in more remote areas, because this is happening all over in areas where, like, there is not a lot of help
Do you know
next to them.
what would happen? First of all, for any Ask Me Everything fans, this sounds like a job for Electro.
Oh my
if there was ever
God.
a job for Electra.
This is the one.
This
This is it.
We need
Imagine you're in your house, you're in Egypt, you're standing on a table with a little broom trying to fight them off like Davy Crockett at the Alamo. And while you're about to get overrun, all of a sudden, like the fucking Kool-Aid man, here comes Electro bursting through the wall of your house.
Completely electrified.
Just zip, zap, zapping all those
Hey,
scorpions.
zip, zap. That's what we need.
Yeah.
I think that's how the Electro biopic starts.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Horde
Because
of-
Electro is who we need.
Anwar, Egypt,
Yeah.
2021.
For some reason, scorpions are everywhere. Here's what I think. If this was happening anywhere near me, I would get the biggest pair of boots you ever did see. I'm talking like Frankenstein
And just wear them at all
platform boots.
Yeah.
And everywhere I walked, I'd be stomping.
You'd look like a goth kid in 1999.
I would just
Exactly,
stomp every
and
step.
just stomp all over the earth, but
Yeah.
wear them to bed as well. And I say that because I had
God,
friends.
I didn't think about sleeping.
I had friends who have lived in Texas for like all of their lives and then moved out here, and they said they would always have to check their boots before they went anywhere because it was a known thing that scorpions would crawl into your boots if you were like out.
Just kidding. Maybe I won't wear shoes.
That's what I'm
during
saying.
the
If you're going to wear the
scorpion
boots,
apocalypse.
I love it. Love the stomping, but you have to have them on at all times
That's
because
fair.
otherwise a scorpion's going to crawl on
Shit.
in there. And that's in Texas. In Egypt, they're coming out. Like, scorpions are maybe going to come at you in Texas. In Egypt, because of these storms driving them out with flooding, like they're coming out of their little holes, their little caves, and they are just... They're coming in the masses and stinging these people. The fact that 450 people are seriously injured and being treated,
My word.
it's just too much. And 3 people have died, which is horrible. I'm thankful that it's not more. Those numbers obviously could go up, but now they're trying to be more on top of it. It came as a total surprise. Yeah, extra doctors were being brought in. Like, they are on alert, and residents are being asked to stay inside their homes. The governor, Asraf Atiya, the Aswan governor, had to limit traffic for a time, closing local highways to prevent accidents due to limited mobility in the rain. So this
Damn.
is also just like how bad the storming is, which is driving out these scorpions and these venomous snakes. But yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, scorpion stings can be lethal, and the Egyptian fat-tailed scorpion specifically is a species found throughout northern Africa, and it is in particular described to be one of the most deadly creatures in the world.
Ouch,
so
ouch, ouch.
we are trying to think of Egypt and hope you guys are doing okay, because that
Hope you
sounds
guys
horrible.
are okay. I don't know if anyone's
Fine.
listening from Egypt, but watch out for
Oof.
those Scorpy boys.
Hey, would you like to hear an adjective that I never want to hear used in the name of a kind of scorpion?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Fat.
The fat
That's true.
tail. That is
Yeah,
true.
that's
No,
true.
I don't. I want nothing about a scorpion to be luscious.
What if it was
Yeah.
the chubby-tailed? Would that be the same thing, or would it sound a little
Little
too
chubby
dirty?
It would sound better. Chubby
Yeah,
would
chubby.
be like he's just a little guy,
right. Like you're a little like,
But
no, I
the
want to
fat
pet him.
tail, it's like he's all thick and juicy. No, thank you.
Yeah, fat, more venom can
Nope.
stick in that
What
fat
about,
tail.
like-
one bullet, please.
What about like stinky-tailed? Is that a
Aw.
scary word? I'm trying to think of
Stinky tail.
adjective.
He's not gonna hurt you. He just gonna make you a little smelly.
I just wanted to throw out some adjectives and see how Joe felt about them.
Yeah.
The stinky-tailed scorpion.
I prefer it to fat.
Okay. So stinky and chubby over fat.
Fine.
We're there.
Fat,
All right.
no thanks. Girthy, I'm good. Supple, no thank you.
Luscious.
I'm all
No.
right.
The luscious
The voluptuous scorpion. It's like
the
sexy.
voluptuous.
What about the
Are they
fish?
saucy now?
The fish we learned about on the last episode, which was the sarcastic.
That cracked
Something
me up
or other?
so much.
There's a
yes, the
sarcastic
sarcastic.
fish?
There's
It's
a
called
sarcastic
a
fish.
sarcastic. Hold on.
I know.
So a
Now I feel like we
sarcastic
have to look
fish
it
is
up.
like, oh, great, you caught me.
That's-
Thank you.
That's exactly
Wow,
the joke I
thanks.
made of like,
It's
oh, how
called-
sarcastic is it? And it
Yeah.
was Ashley and Isaac were both like, no, it's sarcastic in the way that's not the actual
It's
definition.
called the sarcastic fringe head, and it looks like the vampire from Blade 2.
Yikes.
Yeah, you like that,
That's-
boy?
That's terrifying.
Yeah, he's scary.
Why do they call it sarcastic?
I
That's
don't
what
know.
I said. I had so many questions, but
I don't know.
I like that he's a
assume
little sassy and
someone-
has some rainbow color
Named
along
him.
with the horrifying features.
He's like, cool, nature photographer.
Cool.
Just what I wanted today.
That's what I wanted when I swam out of my hole.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Oh, that sarcastic bitch. Okay.
All right, what else is going on in this?
Since I did a recent story, now let's flash back to January.
Remember
you know?
January,
like, remember
guys?
when that was a month?
Remember when we were
started
like,
this
oh,
year?
only a few more months probably of this.
It was so funny when January hit, and we're like, thank God we're out of the worst year to ever
Yeah.
happen to us. And then 2021
And then
just threw a lot
2021
at us.
happened, and my best friend died, and I,
Yeah, I
had
can't.
a horrible year.
It
It's
was a
like,
lot.
cool.
Yes.
2020, not looking so bad.
Hey, but 2022, though, you guys.
2022 though,
Let's
guys.
go.
This is
Here
going to
we
be
go.
the one.
This is our year.
This is it.
This is our year.
No stopping us now.
Nope.
No, and this story is
It's
not as
beautiful.
bad as the Scorpions. It was just
Right.
really, it jumped out at me. It was interesting to me. A man who lived in O'Hare Airport for 3 months before he was found back in January
I
of
remember
this
this guy.
year
I remember
has
this guy.
just recently been acquitted of the trespassing charge that was against him. Last name Singh, that's how he's just referred to in all of these. Singh, age 37, came to the United States nearly 6 years ago to earn a master's degree. He had been living in Orange County in California, and he boarded a flight from Los Angeles to Chicago last October, back in 2020, for what was supposed to be the first leg of his return flight home to India. But coronavirus hit. We all know the pandemic. It left Singh very afraid to fly, very anxious about travel, about everything in general. So he's sitting at O'Hare Airport like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do the long leg. So he never boarded a plane because of his anxiety. And instead, he lived in the secured terminal for 3 months, where he had access to restrooms, strangers who would buy him food, and all the comforts of the airport with nobody detecting him for 3 months.
I mean, that's baller. That's like that Tom
I know,
Hanks
I'm kind
movie.
of like, well done. Well done.
Amazing.
What was that Tom Hanks movie?
Terminal. It's
Yeah.
literally called Terminal. That's
Mhm.
what I thought of too.
Yeah.
I thought of that immediately. And it's like, you get how you could get away with it. Like, you can
Yeah.
live that way for a
Tell
while.
me how it's. So he was charged with trespassing?
He
Is that what
was,
happened?
but this is what's interesting. He got really lucky because while in court, it was proven that there was not enough in this situation to properly charge him with trespassing. After his arrest, the TSA, which we all know regulates security at the airport and specifically in this case for O'Hare, said he did not violate any airport regulations.
No
It's like,
specific laws that say you can't pay for a ticket, make it to the
And then
gates,
chill.
and then just stay.
there is just nothing
No legal
specific in the laws.
precedent.
Yeah, there is nothing that says, like, you can't just live here. Like, he wasn't breaking any security. He had checked everything he needed to check. He was
obviously
buying
wasn't-
things within the airport.
Yeah,
so
he
they were
obviously
like, shoot.
wasn't, trashing the bathrooms
Exactly.
or like
he was staying clean. He was staying
harming
quiet
people.
because he was
Yeah.
trying to hide.
I bet his balls
So-
smelled.
I mean, I'm sure he wasn't the cleanest.
Yeah, you can get a pretty good if you're like in the airport overnight. You can get a pretty good wash in a airport sink. I
You think
think.
you can get a good ball wash in the middle of an airport?
Here's
Hey,
the thing,
that's up
I
to you. I've
don't-
never washed balls, so I
Yeah,
can't tell
same.
you.
That's
You
what
don't
I was
think
wondering.
you
know where
could
they
plop
go.
them in
You
a
know where they
sink?
hang.
I know where they hang,
Right,
but
but
could you
I'm
plop
tough
them in a
angle.
sink?
I'm thinking though, I could wash my vagina in an airport bathroom.
A vagina's a little different. I mean, balls.
I would say it's harder.
I was gonna say I think it's harder. You could plop your balls in a sink. We can't
Or on
do
the
that.
counter. Just plop them on the counter.
Can't plop balls in a sink. It's
Really?
hard. The angle's
Prove
tough.
it. Go to the bathroom.
What if you put your leg up?
Leg up.
on the
But
sink?
then,
Yeah.
but then you're the guy who's got his fucking leg up on the sink,
But he's
washing his
there in the
nutsack when
middle of
somebody
the
else walks
night.
in.
No,
Yeah.
nobody else is
Red
there.
eye, baby.
That's the thing. The red eye flights have all taken off, and he has those like sweet hours of nobody.
Oh,
being
I have
there.
an
Plop
idea.
your balls
I
in.
guess if he's
I
there
have
like
an
by
idea.
himself, but I didn't.
I think he was a lot.
Bottle of water.
Yeah.
Take it into a stall.
Yeah.
You got soap on your hand, bottle of water.
Yeah.
You can just squat over the.
That's how you do it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how
Do a
you do
little
it.
His balls are
scrub,
fine,
scrub.
guys.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Okay, yeah, I take it back. I'm sure he was all right. I'm sure he smelled okay.
Yep. As long as you can get your balls, your pits, and your beehole, I think everything else is fine. Anyway, continue.
So, an aviation department spokeswoman was quoted saying, Mr. Singh did not breach or improperly enter any secured areas. He arrived there like tens of thousands of arriving passengers do every day by stepping off of a plane. While we don't speculate on Mr. Singh's motivations, he decided to remain in the secure area and made every effort to blend in as a passenger and airline employee until his arrest. So, everyone's sort of looking at him like, we're not a fan of what you did, but you didn't break a rule,
But we can't
so we're letting it
charge
go. He does have a couple of more court appearances, like people are bringing up other charges. They're trying to do things, but it really looks like he's going to get away with it just because the laws are not written clearly enough. And he really kept to himself and kept clean. So it's looking like he's going to escape any charge. And the only thing that he may be in trouble for is he escaped a charge for allegedly violating the terms of some electronic monitoring that he had for a bond that he had on him. This is after he was caught in the airport.
What did he have on him? A bond?
Yeah, what?
There was a bond out for him after he was caught at the airport.
I see.
And so he's been showing up for everything, but there was one time where he escaped not even one of his
Let
court hearings, but
Singh
a
go.
meeting he was supposed to have. So this is his one thing, and that may be brought up against him, but in the end it's
Come
going to be
on.
a
Whatever.
fine.
Let him go, guys.
I feel like we've
Give it a
got bigger fucking
break.
fish to
We
fry.
do. I
everybody.
think he's going to
Grow
be
up.
fined some money, a little slap on the wrist, but that is the one thing that they are able to hold charge on him, because everything else is kind of saying, dude, you're good. But
Yeah, you're fine.
Come on,
I can't
man.
believe it. He just lived in the airport. Kind of all right.
Pretty wild.
I love that.
I think you really, really, really got to be into bar American style food to live in an airport for 3 months.
Absolutely.
You really got to be a guy who's like TGI Friday.
I was thinking of the Chili's too.
Yeah.
It's not even a full Chili's,
Yeah.
but you get
At least he was at O'Hare. Can you imagine getting
O'Hare's a
stranded
good
at
option.
Phoenix
Oh,
Airport
my God.
for 3 months? I
No.
can't
I'll
Tell
even
you what,
find
I'd rather
lunch
be at the
there.
Phoenix Airport than Phoenix.
Hey, he did it. Good
There
job,
it
Joe.
is.
Take that, Phoenix.
This was a very popular story. A lot of people sent it to us. I think it was posted on our Facebook page, but I thought it needed just a recapping because it's insane. The man who was swallowed and spit out by a whale.
Love
Yeah,
it.
that was wild.
And I'm I know we've all heard this, but we have to bring it up
Now,
because it's
this
insane.
was not the same guy.
This was not Jonah, honey. No.
No,
wasn't
not
Jonah.
Jonah.
This
This
was
wasn't
not
Jonah.
Jonah.
Yes, this was
Okay.
a modern
No,
man.
we did it this week in Weird, but I think that was last year where a guy got half eaten by a whale.
Yes, I
Yeah.
do think that was a different story because this
Okay.
one we never did on an episode, but people posted it in our
Okay.
Facebook group. So, Massachusetts lobster diver Michael Packard,
Lobster.
age 56, was swallowed and spit back out by a whale.
Wow.
He said of the experience, all of a sudden, I felt this huge shove, and the next thing I knew, it was completely black. I could sense I was moving, and I could feel the whale squeezing me with the muscles in his mouth.
Oof.
I was completely inside of him, completely black, but I thought to myself, there's no way I'm getting out of here. I'm done. I'm dead. All I could think of was my children, my 2 boys who are 12 and 15. He didn't know what to do except just accept his fate. So Packard thinks he was in the whale's mouth for about 30 seconds, felt like an eternity to him. He was able to breathe because he had his breathing apparatus on from being a diver. And in an effort to save himself, it was kind of his last-ditch effort. He really had accepted that he was going to go. But he began shaking the whale's head because there's enough space in its mouth. He was like, I'm just going to start shaking, banging on the sides. The animal did eject him and say, this ain't what I want. And in a Facebook post, he said that the whale spit me out as fast as he could, and he escaped with only bruises, no broken bones.
Wow.
Totally
That's
fine.
insane. What's this guy's name? Michael Packard?
Michael Packard.
56-year-old Massachusetts lobster diver Michael Packard was swallowed by a whale off the shore at Cape Cod this weekend. When asked for comment on his initial experience, he said to the whale, "Hey, fuck you!"
Hey, fuck you, buddy.
Hey, fuck you, buddy.
Oh, it was horrible. I was thinking about how I was never going to see my kids again. I was thinking about how I'd never
about my
get
boys.
I was thinking about how I'd never get to sit at the bleachers at Fenway and get fucking hammered during
Tommy.
a, during a
and
Sox
Bobby.
game.
Tommy and Bobby. I was going to the baseball game.
I was going to miss Tommy. I was going to miss Sully. I was going to miss Marky. I was going to miss all the boys from L Street.
Frankie.
Oh, it was horrible.
Frankie
horrible.
two-time.
Yeah.
Johnny Bones.
But
Johnny
first of all,
Joey
you gotta
Breadstick.
hear
I had to
him-
get back.
You got to hear him finish the drag of his cigarette first.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck, man? I'm out here. I'm just trying. I'm minding my own goddamn business. I'm diving for lobsters. This fucking whale comes up behind me.
Swallows me whole.
Swallows me whole. I start fucking banging around in his
Hanging
mouth.
on all sides.
I'm just causing a fucking ruckus in this thing's mouth, trying to get him to spit me the fuck out. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Those are my people.
Yeah.
Joe, our angel from above. That
Or
is
angel
exactly
from
what he-
above. Or below. Depends
Or
on how you
below,
look
yeah.
at
Yeah.
Whichever way you
Oh,
want to
well,
look at
that
it.
one's debatable.
Did you guys hear about Pablo Escobar's cocaine hippos?
I fucking love this guy.
What?
I know. It sounds,
Pablo Escobar is still somehow the gift that keeps giving.
right?
Yeah.
Like, it will never stop. I love that we keep finding out new things.
Nobody's ever balled out harder than Pablo Escobar.
So, more than 80 hippos previously owned by Colombian drug lord Pablo Escobar have a very unique distinction in U.S. law. They are the first non-human creatures to be legally considered people in order to be saved. So, stick with me. Here's how it happens. So the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Ohio recognized the late Escobar's infamous cocaine hippos, as they're called, as legal persons for the first time in the United States. This ruling came on October 15th, the same day that the Animal Legal Defense... Okay.
Defense.
The
Animal Legal Defense Fund.
Defense Fund together. Defense Fund.
The Defense
The Defense Fund. This came on the same day the Animal Legal Defense Fund filed an application on behalf of the hippos in Colombia intended to stop the country's government from killing the animals. They were to be put to death because they were left behind by our buddy Pablo Escobar. But they were fighting as hard as they could to save them and, set them into the appropriate habitat. So the hippos are descendants of 4 illegally imported by Escobar, which, the guy did some things, but
He had a whole fucking zoo.
he
Yeah.
had a zoo.
He was
and
the
his
Tiger
hippos
King
were
of-
like his life. Yeah, he was Tiger King.
Tiger King wishes they had the fucking collection of animals that Pablo Escobar had.
Like Pablo had them animals.
Pablo Escobar was like fucking Noah. He had so
Noah.
many animals down there.
He had his hippos. They became known as the cocaine hippos. They were set free after his death in 1993, and since then the hippos have increased their numbers to more than 80, but they were starting to wreak havoc on the local ecosystem. I know, they were just like hooking up,
Yeah, they don't
pushing
belong there.
out babies.
Now, were they just called cocaine hippos because they belong to
Yes.
Pablo? Okay.
I know. That is why I almost felt bad saying cocaine hippos, because you thought they were, they were
I
getting
just
high
thought they.
on some cocaine.
Well, I thought that they were somehow like they put
Mules.
cocaine. Yeah,
Yeah,
mules.
they
Yeah,
were
drug
carrying
mules.
it. Yeah.
I actually thought so too.
I did too.
I was
He
like, can you
just-
imagine?
he just had his
hippos are like
yeah.
the most dangerous mammals
I know,
on
but I
earth.
think
A
that's
hippo
why-
coked up?
Yeah,
Can you
well, I was
imagine?
thinking a hip
Already
trying
so
to get like a
fucking
bag of
dangerous
cocaine
on
in the
cocaine,
butthole of a hippo.
Man, that would mess you up.
Yeah.
They would come at you for nothing. No, they were not his mules, but like you guys have said, because they're the most dangerous, I imagine that's why he had them. He's like, I want to have these
Right.
creatures that are going to fucking
It's
murder
badass,
somebody.
yeah.
He loved having his animals, but they started wreaking havoc on the ecosystem. They
Yeah,
were,
I can imagine.
released in not a safe way. So everybody just wanted to like put them to death or like, let's get them out of here. But in July, Colombian attorney Luis Domingo Gomez Maldonado, which like, what a name.
That is a great name.
Filed a lawsuit on behalf of the animals to save them from being killed, saying that sterilization would be a better option. They could still live their lives. Colombian law gives non-human creatures legal standing to bring lawsuits to protect their interests, but the U.S. did not. And so they needed the U.S. to get involved in order to help them be saved. So the U.S. law did allow them to be called humans in order to save them. And by granting this application, now that they are recognized as legal animals, they will be saved. They will not be put to death. And they're going to be let out in some Ohio wildlife area that fought for them. So they're going to be saved after their weird ass life.
From cocaine hippos to Ohio hippos.
Yeah.
Ohio
hippos.
Midwest hippos.
And then I just have one more little, like, feel-good story.
Love them.
After all of it. Doug the potato. Doug is the name of a large mutant potato out of England, which is 17 pounds and is going to take its place in 2021 as the world's heaviest potato.
Wow.
There was a previous record holder, I didn't even know, which was fucking tiny in comparison. We get rid of this guy. He was 10 pounds back in 2011.
Not even close, man.
Not
What
even
was his
fucking
name?
Close. He didn't have a name. That's how
Didn't even have a
boring he
name.
was.
That's how small he was.
I grew up with a guy named Doug, and now that I think about it, he was kind of a potato.
Yeah,
And I'm pretty sure he was bigger than 17 pounds.
Well.
I think my Doug is actually the biggest potato ever.
biggest fucking potato.
Yeah.
No, that guy in 2011 didn't have a name. He couldn't
Didn't
even
even have a
compare at 10 pounds. But earlier this month, we found the new, biggest, ugliest, lumpiest potato.
Aw.
He was named Doug by his growers and owners who lived in England, originally from New Zealand, but had moved to England and really got into gardening. They had no idea he even existed until they were out there with their hose going to town, and they said, what did we just strike? A 17-pound
That is
potato.
madness.
He is fabulous. He is lumpy. He looks like an alien. And their plan, now that he is starting to, go bad, he's showing signs that, like, you got to
poor
do
guy.
something with me because they've just been hanging out with him. Their plan is to turn him into potato vodka, which I'm just really excited about.
That's
Yeah.
actually a really good idea.
Get some,
I was
Way to
like-
go. Way to
get some
go out,
Get
Doug.
some Chopin
what
up in
I
that
thought.
bitch.
Yeah.
I was like, I am real obsessed with these people. I think it's a fabulous idea. Their names are Colin and Donna. Again, just like thought they were growing a normal potato and came out with their new son, Doug, who's going to
Their
be
new
their
son.
potato vodka. They were wheeling him around town for a while in a wagon with a little
You
sign
know
that
I
said
would do
Doug.
the same
like
fucking
milking it. Like
I was
don't.
gonna say, did they get him enrolled in Little League?
Basically,
Like, you see
yeah,
him with, like,
totally.
a little Little League jersey on, like somebody like swinging
little
a bat
ball
for
cap
him,
on him,
running him down
yeah.
to first base. Doug was a part of the community.
I
He was a
imagine-
local celebrity. Like, people are sad that he's going to have to be destroyed. But like, potatoes
Doug.
they can't just live forever.
Yeah,
but
they're
he
not
wa-
immortal.
He was just a little pal in a wagon for a while.
Wow.
Guys,
Shooting star potato.
17
Yeah.
pounds. Our good pal Doug.
Goodness.
Love you, Doug.
We love you,
Doug.
man.
Can't wait to get drunk on you.
Thanks for existing. Well, in honor of Joe being our guest, why don't we go over some new conspiracy theories?
Oh,
Hell yes!
Oh boy.
We are in the golden age of conspiracy theories, and they aren't just for QAnon anymore, baby. The whole world's in on them now. We've seen an interesting shift in conspiracy theories as well. Prior to 2021, research showed that baby boomers were 7 or even 8 times more likely to spread misinformation than college or high school aged kids, but TikTok is making a dent in that statistic.
I believe it. Lord, I believe it. Oh, I'm so excited.
I love conspiracy theories. We all know this.
too.
I love thinking about the what ifs. Sometimes the crazier idea, the better, but some of these are pretty out there. And the most recent one that has hit the world by storm has to be that the horrific events that took place during Travis Scott's performance at Astroworld was actually a satanic ritual.
What's wrong with people?
This
It
is
definitely
a real
was, Joe.
baby boomer Christian throwback, and I love it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's just crazy enough to be a I don't even know how to finish that thought.
Joe's already pissed.
Please continue.
He's just
Joe's
mad.
already mad.
And if for you listeners at home, if you hear a really loud, distracting noise in the background, it's the sound of my eyes rolling continuously.
Yeah.
Please continue.
Well, first of all, before I get into this, it was not a satanic ritual. It was carelessness, could have been easily avoided, and none of these kids should have been in any danger, much less end up dead. It was tragic and horrible, and nothing about the event was funny, but now we're going to laugh at really dumb people.
Perfect.
So this theory, though, did not come from nothing. There was a lot of weird footage of this concert,
Yeah,
and I watched
I do
some of
agree.
it, and it was very strange. A lot of attention was focused on the layout of the stage, which looks like an upside-down cross leading into a fire portal. But to be fair, this is a pretty standard concert stage layout,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Two to the side, one out
Yes.
front, so you
With
can
that
go
big,
into
like,
the
runway.
audience.
Yeah.
I've
1000%.
seen it a million times.
Countless times.
Don't think it has anything to do with the devil. Before the show started, there was a hologram of a winged dove or bird of some kind that was on fire, surrounded by a tower of flames. A lot of people thought it was symbolic of the phoenix, which is, a symbol of immortality, life after death. There were 8 pillars of flames, and 8 people died. It's a shitty coincidence. Although super awful news, that number just jumped to 9 this past week
Oh, it
because
did?
a 9-year-old boy who was injured did pass away.
Oh, it's horrible.
Regardless of whether or not a 9-year-old should have been anywhere near a concert like
Right.
that, it's still awful. Other people focused on the fact that concert goers had to walk through an entrance shaped like Travis Scott's open mouth to get into the concert, and comparisons were drawn between that and a painting titled Christ in Limbo, which is a painting that represents Jesus' descent into hell prior to his resurrection, which is a part of the Bible I think I forgot.
Not familiar.
I forgot about it. But then I remembered that prayer that's like, he descended into hell, something, something, something. He ascended into heaven. What's that prayer?
It's the Disciples' Creed or
Disciples'
something that we
Creed.
say
That
over and
sounds
over in
right.
church.
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. So he did go to hell.
He does.
What do you think
right?
he did down there?
Didn't he go to hell? Didn't he allegedly battle the devil? Isn't that?
I think you're thinking of the song "The Devil Went Down to Georgia."
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Devil
of.
went down to Georgia.
He was looking for a soul to steal.
Yeah, now I'm trying to think of, or it's the Apostles' Creed, maybe not the
Apostles.
disciples. Yeah, I'm saying disciples. I'm
Apostles'
a terrible
Creed.
Catholic.
Yeah,
'cause I
I'm
haven't
not
been
a
Catholic
great
for many
Lutheran
years.
either.
Okay,
So here's the deal.
Yeah.
Real quick, before we move on. Jesus did go to hell. What did he do there? Joe, what's your guess?
Probably played ping pong.
Ping pong. Lauren.
Piggyback ride on the devil.
And the devil was like, "Get off me! Get off me, Jesus!"
Along with all the fire and brimstone at the concert, there was also a sound check that I even admit was weird. But to me, it was more annoying than weird. And it might be because I don't really get that genre of music. I don't
Sure.
even know what you would call it. Is it techno? House?
You're looking at
Okay,
the wrong person.
yeah.
Yeah, I am not.
And I'm not
going
gonna
to
look at Joe, 'cause I know that
I'm
he's
like,
not gonna know
either.
see, I would have called him a rapper, but he was at a festival that seemed a little more like electronic.
I couldn't
Yeah.
tell you one Travis Scott song.
Could you point him out in a crowd?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
I couldn't either.
But anyways, this sound check was just like a very repetitive chant that people said went on and on for a long time. And I've seen a video of it. It definitely was very strange.
It's weird.
But also probably not a chant to summon a demon.
Sure.
This is just a weird coincidence, I think, but Travis Scott also released a video the day of the performance. And in that video, like a music video, in that video, he's wearing a Pearl Jam shirt. A lot of people started posting an old article from June of 2000 in which 9 people exactly were trampled to death in a mosh pit during Pearl Jam's performance at the Roskilde Festival in Denmark. Isn't that
Okay,
a
that's
fucked up
weird.
coincidence?
That
Pretty
is
wild.
fucked up.
Jeez.
Damn. That's really fucked up.
He also had a shirt on during the
Wow.
concert that featured a glowing portal where blue people were walking in and coming out the other side red with horns. You get the idea. All of this paired with the fact that, if anyone knew anything about it, the crowd was not only chanting to stop the show, but also like climbing onto platforms, begging cameramen and women to stop the show.
Those videos are so disturbing.
It was very obvious something was wrong and no one did anything to stop the show. But also, there is a whole history of conspiracies that musicians in their concerts are actual satanic rituals, which is why I was actually pretty surprised to see that Ace Frehley from Kiss joined in on this conspiracy on social media.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
how old is Ace Frehley?
Yeah, let's see.
Fuck if I know. But here's the thing, like,
Does he fit in with the...
First of all, Kiss always sucked, and second of all,
Oh.
I'm not surprised that somebody from Kiss has some stupid fucking opinions on something other. I mean, they even suck at rock and roll.
I couldn't agree more, but my thing is, so here's what he posted on social media, just to give you context. It was a photo of his sock that said, "Not today, Satan," with a caption that read, "In regard to what happened in Houston, Texas, our prayers go out to all the families who lost loved ones at the concert. Seems like it was a satanic ritual gone very wrong. There'll be hell to pay. All people of every faith and religion should band together to stop this from ever happening again in America," which is, to me, total bullshit, because they had to fight their entire career to dispel rumors of KISS being an acronym for Knights in Satan's Service.
Right.
And they were regularly accosted by religious fanatics, especially in the southern states.
Like, I was thinking that too. I'm like, you were
You
on
of
the
all
defense
people.
your entire career, and now you are throwing this out
and now you're
too?
like, this was obviously a satanic. It's like,
Clearly
what the?
it was.
Here's the
You
thing.
either die a hero or you
Yes.
live long enough to become the villain.
Sometimes you just live long enough.
Sometimes you
to
just live too long.
become the villain.
Sometimes,
That is absurd.
yeah, sometimes you should have overdosed.
Right.
Damn. Hot take.
Damn
from
Joe.
Joey.
This is, again, why we
Well,
have him on the show.
Yeah, well, anybody who takes a tragedy and turns it into some fucking word salad geopolitical bullshit can suck my ass.
I mean, amen. That is like what we can take away from this is like, this was horrific. And the fact that everybody is just sitting here like, well, it did seem like the satanic, like, shut the fuck
to
up.
go
Shut up.
to say nothing of the hypocrisy, to go public with an asinine opinion like that. Like, you open the door, man. Suck my ass. You suck.
Hey, remember when we were doing weird news and Joe was in a really fun mood, and then I say the word conspiracy, and now he's fucking
Mad
Conspiracy
already.
Mad
theories
and
bring mad
not
Joe.
having
we
fun
knew this.
anymore.
We knew this. We knew it.
All right,
We knew
let's
it was
see if we
coming.
can.
Goddamn stupid.
All right, let's see if we can cheer
Yeah, bring
Joe
me back.
up.
Come on.
Let's
bring
do
me,
a
bring me
fun
back, y'all.
one.
Come on now, I
Another
wanna be
big
happy.
conspiracy talk. And I saw this other places. This was not just on TikTok. Had to do with our lovely oceans
give it
that
up
we
for the
love,
oceans, everybody.
that we're not
Woo!
afraid of in any way.
I love the ocean. I swim in it daily.
Our oceans had a very interesting year.
What?
There were at least 2 times the ocean was on fire,
Okay.
which I, honest to God, didn't know
I didn't either.
was a thing that could happen, but it did. So, of course, both times had to do with oil spills, which isn't mysterious. It's just frustrating.
It's just us.
It's just human.
Just
Turns out the problem is
who we are.
us.
Yeah. Turns out we're the
Humans
plague.
suck.
But there were also quite a few explosions in the ocean.
Yes.
One of them was pretty fucking huge. The U.S. Geological Survey measured a 3.9 on the Richter scale for one of them. It was a 40,000-pound explosion set off by our own Navy near its new aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford. Goo. It was going through its final steps needed before the Navy could sign off on it to be deployed. It was a little strange to see because the Navy hadn't performed a test like this since 1987.
That is wild.
So it was weird. A lot of people were like, how could they do this in our oceans? The marine life, I'm sure a lot of marine life and habitat was harmed and destroyed, but supposedly they did schedule the explosions to comply with the environmental requirements, which if we know anything about environmental requirements, it was probably not much. But they respected the known migration patterns of marine life in the test area as well. So all of these fires and explosions taking place in our ocean over the summer definitely prompted a lot of people to become concerned that our government knew something that we didn't.
Okay.
Think like Pacific Rim. Like
Yep.
something was down there
You're doing
and
something.
we're trying to kill it.
Kaijus.
Yeah.
Kaijus,
I knew
guys.
it.
The UFO footage released by the Navy, the ship getting stuck in the Suez Canal in March, and the backup of cargo ships off the coast of California in October were all added to the conspiracy that something's
down there
was happening in them waters.
I'm into it.
And who are we to say there's not?
You know that I am always going to be on the side of the conspiracy theorists here. I'm like, I know that there is a creature just beneath the surface who is coming to murder us. And I honestly think these people are saving us.
Seriously. Yeah.
Blow it up.
I'm all for it. What do you think, Joe?
Godzilla!
It could be. It could fucking be.
History shows again and again how nature points out the folly of man.
Go, Godzilla! Here's the thing, though. If only, because Godzilla, in America at least, he's a good guy.
I know. We're here for it.
Gojira.
Like, we want it.
But the reality, of course, is that none of these have anything to do with each other.
The reality of it, of course, is that we're just systematically destroying our planet.
Yeah,
we're just terrible people.
Destroying everything.
Coincidence? It's like, not really. We're just kind of going full steam into the fucking void.
Destroy
not
it all.
really a coincidence, no.
Yeah.
Actually, I did want to touch on, there are a lot of conspiracy theories surrounding all of the ships off the California coast.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of them there. And a lot of it there's a conspiracy about like the dock workers and like posting jobs that aren't actually being filled and like a lot of political shit. But the reality of it is that California has the busiest ports in the country. And since the pandemic started, consumer spending habits have changed tremendously. Yeah. We've ordered like 4 times the amount of things online as a country. Yeah. And we just don't have enough room for all the shit.
Let alone enough people. I mean, these crates have to be unpacked, don't forget. People need to do this. This is also at a time in which a lot of people have been struggling to find work. It's a time when a lot of businesses have also simultaneously been struggling to fill positions because they don't want to raise wages.
Going on.
A lot of labor strikes are going on.
We've lost almost 1 million people in this country to fucking COVID.
I'd say this has to do more with logistics and economics than it does with kaijus or Godzilla.
Yes, I'm like,
Agreed.
I said, I'm always on the side of ocean conspiracy theorists. But no, from all of the reading I've done, it sounds like these ships are just sitting out there like, we don't have enough fucking people to unload this, to like pack these in, to get them to where they need to go. So that is another thing, is it's like, are your Christmas presents going to get to you? Maybe not until order them now. February,
especially
unless
if they're
you
coming
order
from out of the country.
Meow. Yeah. It's
I actually found an update on it recently. Biden has, I don't know if it's gone through, but he's basically saying there's going to be like $100 a day tax for the ships that can't be unloaded, because a lot of it does have to do with hiring. Yeah. And offering people appropriate fucking wages and benefits. Yeah. And it's like, who were not hire some people then.
Yeah. And then hire them.
And to be fair, because I am a real pinko commie on this podcast sometimes, to be fair, labor unions, though well-intentioned and ultimately necessary, also do throw their weight around quite a bit. This wouldn't be the first labor union to be like, I know we got a line of ships out there as far as the eye can see, but our most recent collective bargaining agreement stipulates that I get a 15-minute break every 3 hours. Every 4 hours, I get a meal break. So I'm going to sit here and eat my fucking chicken fingers while the port just backs up even more.
Yeah.
So, it's not all just the evil, bad, rich people screwing us over.
No, it's a combination of a lot of different things right now.
A lot of different shit going on.
A lot of shit's going on.
But I do have hope that, can we offer actual fair wages? And then, let's unpack these ships and let's get there. But I hope that happens.
Other conspiracies on TikTok that blew up this year were the idea that we shifted into a different reality for all of 2020.
See, that one I'm willing to go a little deeper on.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Well, the reason behind this one is that 2020 was really weird. Like, shit.
Was it?
Of course 2020 was really weird.
But also New Year's was weird.
Everyone. New Year's was weird? What do you mean?
Wasn't it weird that like the ball didn't drop in the way it was supposed to? I thought that was a big part of the rumor, is that like the ball dropped late. And
a minute late, I think. It was it
was
a full minute
like,
late.
Yeah, it was an amount of time that people were like, wait. And so that kind of threw us
I
into
do
the
not
conversation.
know what that has to do with a different reality, but
just
yes,
saying.
that was one of
It
the
could have been.
reasons. Another one of the reasons was that there was a glitch with Siri. So in the beginning of January, like January 5th or so, if you asked how many days until 2021, she would say 5 days from now. And people were like, ooh, what? But honestly, it was a fucking glitch with Siri and nothing more, guys. Yeah. A ton of conspiracies popped up during the Gabby Petito search, which we will get to later, I believe, during our true crime section. An old conspiracy found new life on TikTok that there's actually a lush jungle inside Antarctica.
Oh, what?
That is actually, Joey, listen though, hold
Joe,
on. Joe,
you
hey,
pay
Joe.
attention.
Joey?
You
Joey
listen
Breadsticks.
up.
Joe, hey, Joe.
Sadly, I'm here.
Look at me.
Continue.
You listen.
Look at me.
Yeah.
Stay with me, bud.
Okay.
This one's rough.
All right.
Oh, I can't.
Somebody doesn't know how the fucking planet works.
There's
but
a
continue.
lush, Joey.
Yep.
There is a lush jungle
Mhm.
inside Antarctica
Mm.
that is actually the opening to the world within our world,
Oh.
which is also known as the Hollow Earth theory.
Mm-hmm.
This theory, the conspiracy theory, is based on a bunch of people not knowing things about things.
That's what I learned. I
So-
did a deep dive
I
on
did a little
TikTok
bit
and
of-
was like, nope.
I did a little bit of research on this, and I found out that the genesis of this of this particular conspiracy theory is just pure fucking stupidity.
No, I literally,
even
I saw
original.
like, I saw Hollow Earth was a hashtag and I was like, let me dive into this.
just
Oh,
see.
no, no.
Well, here's the thing. There is some interesting history with Antarctica as
Yes.
a place.
Sure.
Simply because it's not owned by any country. Like, there's a lot of interesting history with that place.
There's some things.
Super fascinating. But every video that I saw about this conspiracy, whether it was on TikTok, YouTube, anywhere, started with how we aren't allowed to go to Antarctica, which is just not true.
We can.
You can go to
can go.
Antarctica anytime you like. And it's funny because this is something that I would totally believe. Like, my dad told me that frogs give you warts when I was a kid, and I believed it until this year. Until 2021, I believed that holding a frog, if it
gave you
peed on
warts.
me, I would get warts.
Mhm.
So someone just told them it's illegal to go to Antarctica, and they
And
were like,
everyone
all right,
ran with
that's
it,
in my
yeah.
brain
Like,
forever.
You know what? Somebody told me that. That's
Yeah.
true. Hey,
And
hold
it
on a
is a-
second. While we're on the subject, I need to get drunk while we talk about this. Hold on. There we go.
On
Yeah,
Le
get drunk on that, Croy. I'm going to
Get
take a
that
sip of my
Le Croix.
champagne. Okay, and my favorite conspiracy of the year, last but not least, is another throwback. It was actually posted in our Facebook group, and it's the theory that the Apollo 11 crew experienced something strange during their mission to the moon.
Gordon Cooper says they did.
This one's been around for a very long time, but videos have recently resurfaced. And I say resurfaced as in, like, people started sharing them again. They weren't, like, gone.
Right.
Like, they're very famous videos.
Just, it became popular again.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Apollo 11. That's Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, and I was thinking
Yes.
about a different. I was
Yeah.
thinking about the Gemini missions. I'm sorry. Continue. Hi, you know me. You know,
Common
always
mistake.
getting my NASA missions confused.
Videos have resurfaced of the astronauts being interviewed upon their return and their behavior being quite strange, and it truly is. Did you watch
Mhm,
the one that
yes.
was posted on our...
Mm-hmm.
They seem
It is weird.
very troubled. They seem down. They seem scared, and I had never
It's
seen the
off.
footage of them. Have you ever seen it?
Never,
It's
but
their-
now I have
their
to.
You
first
really
interview.
do. I've never watched
And
it.
here's the thing you have to realize, though. They had to quarantine for a month.
Mhm.
So they're not straight out of the
Yeah.
module.
Yeah, they could very well just
They
be
could
off
very
because
well-
they've been in a fucking observation room for a month.
Exactly.
They were
They
like,
could
"I
very
forgot
well
what
be like,
people are."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
It was a
only did I-
fucking month ago.
Not only did I literally just go to the moon and back, but now I just kind of want to see my fucking wife and kids and take a
Right.
shower.
I didn't know what it was like to be alone.
This was their, like, press conference.
Yeah.
And they are, like, sullen.
Mhm.
They're looking down. The interview is strange to
Weird.
me.
So off.
You would think
It's
that
bizarre.
they just did something that no one's ever done in the history of mankind.
Yeah.
And you would think that they would be somewhat excited. And I just love seeing this footage because I've actually talked about this before on the show and I just want to cover it. There are 2 full minutes of audio transmission missing from the Apollo landing.
This is true.
It's right when they
And
landed.
it's wild.
That are the minutes that they're missing. And a lot of moon landing experts have accused NASA of holding back vital information. And I say moon landing experts because they're not conspiracy theorists. They're people who study the actual event of the moon landing. So
Like,
these
what
aren't
are
just
you
people who
doing?
are like, the government ain't telling us what we need to know. The astronauts went radio silent. At the exact same time, there were transmissions picked up by ham radios on Earth, and people have claimed to have been able to hear the missing 2 minutes of the audio and that the astronauts were communicating with NASA about getting out of the ship because there was something that they saw while they were landing. Now, this may seem crazy, but ham radio operators were able to receive audio from the astronauts on the moon. In fact, one of them even recorded 35 minutes worth of conversation between Armstrong, Aldrin, and Collins, but his recordings came after Richard Nixon had congratulated the men on landing and the men had already began to climb off the module. So that's when he started recording. NASA has always insisted that the missing 2 minutes was a transmission on their medical line, which was private. But
It's possible.
it's totally possible. But it is strange that it is the only 2 minutes.
But I will
It's
say that if they
weird.
did genuinely see something like kind of concrete, I'm not saying that I don't think that they would have gotten out. I mean, they went all the way there. I think
Yeah,
they would have gotten out
sure.
regardless. But I think that they probably would have like circled back to it. They
Yes.
probably would have like referenced it, right?
Well, I wonder
I would
if
hope.
I wonder if they had seen something as they were landing, called Houston, and then possibly they said, we can't talk about it right now.
Oh.
It's possible.
Maybe it was a machine or something on
Right.
that. Like, we have no
I'm
idea.
a lot
We
closer to
just
believing
have
that
no
than I am a
clue.
fucking rainforest in Antarctica. I'll tell you
Are
that.
you sure,
A
Joe?
lot closer. Yeah.
Oh, it's so fun to anger you, though, with these. Jeff
It's so
Myers,
easy.
his favorite episode is the Beatles episode because of the anger that you show.
How under my skin you
When
got with that. I was
yeah,
like, Lauren,
which, like-
stop. I put like a gag order on you.
Even the way that Ashley was like, Joe, listen about Antarctica, that was how I was with
Yeah.
you, where I was like, just listen to me.
Just
Paul
listen
McCartney
and just
I-
see
I
it.
was
will
never
not.
alive. And you
Fuck
were like,
you.
I can't. Yeah.
And then I spit. No.
It was so bad. Oh, God, it's the best.
But it's going to be interesting to see this new change in young conspiracy theorists and how it's
Yes.
going to affect misinformation moving forward. The only tips I have for everyone is please do your research before you make a TikTok or a YouTube video, and don't be afraid to point out inaccuracies when you see one of these posts. The more holes you can poke in a false story, the better for the good of mankind.
Amen.
Which, that's kind of the beautiful thing about TikTok is there is both. Like,
Oh, yeah.
there is conspiracy TikTok up the wazoo, which you can get caught in, but then there are the people who are out there going like, no.
There have been so many times I've
Come
seen a
to me.
TikTok video and I've been like, oh, fascinating. And
Yeah.
then like a day later, I'll
There's
find
a
one where a
duet.
person is like, all right, this TikTok video went
Yeah.
crazy yesterday. Let me tell you how everything in it is
There's
false.
a duet or a stitch that's like, listen, I
Listen, I'm
fact checked
sorry.
it, and I'm so grateful for it. So
Yeah.
that's why TikTok is beautiful and dangerous all in one.
Of course. I mean, you know, there are people on TikTok who are like, you can use a Mr. Clean Magic sponge to whiten your teeth.
Yep.
And I was like, hey,
Okay.
guys, maybe don't. Maybe skip that one.
Was it our last president?
It was Donald Trump, actually. Yeah, Donald Trump used...
It might have been.
He likes to chew on them before bed. They make him nice and loopy.
He's got real white teeth.
He has really white
Gotta
teeth.
give him that.
Mr.
Joe-
Clean, baby.
Why don't you tell us a story?
I'm scared but
Tell you a
excited.
Story. Oh, there's
Yeah.
actually nothing to be scared
Oh,
about.
good.
And I'll be honest
Oh,
with you.
yay.
I know how this kind of factors into the story, but I do think tonally this is a little bit of a departure because it's just like a little factoid.
That's okay.
Yeah, but it's something that happened to you this year
Yeah.
that I really love.
This
All
is
right.
2021
That's
recap,
true.
baby.
All right. Hi, everybody.
Hey, Joe.
Hello. So I have a story. It's something that I learned very recently, actually, within the last couple weeks. So as we have discussed on this podcast before, I am a little bit of a World War II buff, like many
White
cisgendered men before me. And
Yes.
and my explanation for it for my World War II dad boner is that it's literally the biggest thing that's ever happened to planet Earth. And I
Truly.
think it's kind of strange that more people aren't buffs about it because, you know, it was like the world actually hung in the balance. We live in an age of, like you said, disinformation and proxy wars and geopolitics and socioeconomics, just, you know, determining who goes to war with who. But this was literally like a
Good guys versus
this
bad
was good
guys.
guys versus bad guys for the last time. This was
Yeah.
the last time that it was like straight up, no lies, no bullshit.
That's
Good
so
guys
real,
versus
yeah.
bad guys. The world hung in the balance.
Yes.
And I have, you know, relatives. Both of my grandfathers served. One of them was too young to serve in World War II, but he fought in Korea. And I have on the very, very Jewish side of my family, I don't know a ton of my extended relatives. It was just a family where I didn't know my great uncles or great aunts. I didn't know my second cousins. It wasn't one of those families.
Yeah.
And my grandmother, who was the linchpin to a lot of this, was, if I to speak politely of her, she was a very difficult person. And not the fuzziest grandma that anybody's ever had. And I don't know really anything about her family. And every now and again, I go on these kind of genealogy kicks or these ancestry kicks. And, you know, without paying any money or giving anyone my DNA, I do the best I can on the internet.
You can
on my
only
own.
go so
Right.
far.
You can't have my DNA. You can't have my money. Let's see what I can do by myself.
See how deep I can go.
And I learned something pretty interesting very recently. I learned that my maternal grandmother, Frida Follender, a.k.a. Frida Goldstein, a.k.a. Fritzy Goldstein.
Jewish.
Yes.
Just a little.
Jewish indeed.
Just a little. Just a little
Fritzy.
Jewish. Does not get much more Jewish than Lester and Fritzy Goldstein.
Oh, no. Absolutely not.
And she had a brother, Jack, which is a very goy name, may I point out. His real name was John, but everybody called him Jack.
Okay.
And I learned that Jack Follender was a first lieutenant and a B-24 long-range bomber pilot stationed in Calcutta and then Karachi, India during
Whoa.
World War II, during long-range bombing runs into Burma and Southeast Asia.
And what is
Whoa.
the most interesting part about that?
Well, the most interesting part
Already
about
cool.
it, aside from being like, holy cow, I never knew this. This is a family
Fucking
member I
cool.
never met. Unfortunately, Jack passed away in 1978. Never got to meet him. I never heard about him.
Yeah.
But he was a World War II bomber pilot. He was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross for aviation valor, which
my
is,
God.
you know, one of the highest awards
Insane.
a pilot can get. But the cool thing about it is there were a lot of different planes of the era. And even within the long-range bomber, the B-17 that's the Memphis Belle. That's the famous one that everybody knows. And then by the end of the war, there was the B-29 Super Fortress, which was like from a different century. It was automated, all the guns.
Futuristic.
Yeah, super
Just like,
futuristic.
This isn't even of our time.
All the guns were automated. You just pushed a button and a computer system guided the guns. Whereas the earlier generation, it was literally like a guy
Aiming.
guy sitting
Having
in a
to
pod
power it.
aiming,
Yeah,
shooting a
of
gun.
course,
And during
yeah.
the same war, we came out with this like remote controlled gun system and you know,
Aliens.
crazy aliens, exactly.
For sure.
And the B-24 was always like the kind of red-headed stepchild of the long-range bombers of the era. There's really only 3 of them in the American service, but the B-24 is the forgotten one. And for whatever reason, my whole life, the B-24 was always my favorite.
Wow.
It's
He's told me so many
times.
things
Countless times.
when I was a
about
kid,
this plane.
I loved the design of it. I loved where the gun turrets were. I loved it was the only one of the long range bombers.
It's like this
where
badass gun.
Yeah, a guy actually sat in the nose of the plane. He was a nose gunner, and he just sat in the nose of the plane. And like when you were flying into danger, he was the guy. Like a plane's coming right at you, and it's like, oh geez, I hope so and so can shoot. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I always loved the way that it looked, and it was just kind of one of those intangible things where it's just like nobody told me about it. I just discovered it on my own.
Yeah.
I always really liked it. It was always my favorite plane. It was my favorite bomber of the war.
Yeah.
And just kind of a neat little thing to find out that like, oh yeah, and my great uncle was a distinguished pilot of one of those
Wow.
Who
aircraft
flew
during
that
the war.
plane. During
And then-
the
Flew
war.
that
Yeah.
fucking plane.
And then-
Isn't that
and-
wonderful?
That is so cool.
And not
Joe.
only is that cool, but I found 2 really good pictures of him, which maybe we could send out in the newsletter.
Absolutely.
Get a picture of it, send
He's
it out
a
in the newsletter.
hottie bo body.
He's a handsome guy
Oh,
too.
Also, hey, hottie.
Yeah, handsome guy.
We're mostly
Handsome
into-
Jack.
For a nice Jewish boy, that's not a given.
No, that's true.
And he's a
That's
very,
true.
he looks like a
Handsome
1940s
Jack.
actor. He's a very kind of
Okay,
like,
so
yeah.
we have Handsome Jack operating the plane that you were obsessed with,
Mhm.
which is just the cutest story of 2021.
Isn't that fucking adorable?
Can we just end
He
the
was
episode?
so
Like,
excited
what are you talking
to
about?
tell me
What are
about
we
this.
doing here?
And
Give
He
us more.
found a
Give us more.
story.
I found a story.
Joe.
There's a
No.
distinguished Flying Cross Society, and the Distinguished Flying Cross Society published several volumes of little like autobiographical freelance columnist stories about people who were awarded the medal, and they all tell the story. And the book is rife with stories of like, we lost both our engines over the Atlantic, or like, we were surrounded and we had to, like our landing gear didn't come
Yeah.
down. And the navigator from my great uncle's flight crew wrote a story that's published in one of these volumes. And the story that he wrote was about the time that
so
he,
happy.
as the navigator, the pilot, a guy by the name of John Zirin, and my great uncle, Jack Follender, all went on a 3-man beer run for their base. Because it was going to take possibly up to a week to send a couple guys via open boxcar to go get everybody's beer rations. And
I
everybody was
just-
like, a week? We're on fucking leave now. I can't wait a week. I'm only here for 10 days, and then I got to go fly bombing missions again. We
I
can't
just
do this.
fell back in my chair with hashtag mad respect.
So the story is about
God,
the
that's
3 of
beautiful.
them
Yep. On
going
their beer
from their base deeper in India to Calcutta to the stores, to the ration depot to pick so
do
they
a
could
fucking beer run.
load their bomber with cases of beer
As they fucking
and
should.
bring it back to their base.
As they
and,
should.
And the story is about how they overloaded it with beer and they almost couldn't get the plane off the ground.
They
They-
crashed.
The tail
Keeps
of the
getting
plane,
better.
they loaded the tail too much, and the tail of the plane was dragging on the ground, and they couldn't get enough lift to actually get the plane
should we
off
get
the
rid of
ground.
one of these cases?
And they fly it all the way back to the base, and they sit down and they open it. And I guess the beer was unaged and green. It's specifically, the guy says that it came from California.
Uh-huh.
It was green and unaged and tastes like shit. And we enjoyed drinking it just the same.
Yeah, I was like, and they loved every minute
And we
of
sat
it.
and we spent the whole week drinking a case. Every man got
I'm
their own case of
obsessed.
beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They deserved it.
So that's their installment of the Distinguished Flying Society.
To have that story.
Yeah, so
It was
to-
so
to-
good.
to kind of connect these dots and have this kind of fun little metaphysical, like, I wonder if there is something about our existence and our collective consciousness where somehow, some way, in the back of my mind or in my subconscious, I knew that I had some kind of connection to this plane kind of
Yes.
thing. Even if I didn't, it's a hilarious and kind of wonderful
It is.
It's a
coincidence.
beautiful coincidence either
And-
way.
Yeah, and to be able to just kind of learn about this. This
Yeah.
was my grandmother's older brother.
Right.
Yeah.
And he did this really courageous thing during the war, and he was especially courageous when he did it. And and his little bit of legacy that is sealed forever amongst his distinguished aviators is this beer run that almost killed him and his co-pilot and their
I
navigator.
fucking love that.
Yep, because
I
they were
knew you would like
good.
that story.
Yeah.
pretty
I
awesome.
was like, he already, like we've been saying, he already is a phenomenal person, a
Here,
hero, a
pass
badass.
this down.
But
We'll show Lauren the picture, and
but
we'll
to
get
go
this.
on with the beer run is
We'll get this picture sent out in the newsletter.
B-double-A-double-R-U-N, beer run. Anybody heard that one? No.
Yeah, I remember that song.
Damn!
Look, isn't he
Hottie
cute?
McToddy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought he was a cutie.
Chiseled jawline,
Right.
brows
You could
for
cut
days.
glass with that jaw.
I can't even. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Let's hear it for Joe's great uncle.
Let's hear it
y'all.
for my great uncle Jack.
Handsome Jack on the
Jack, indeed.
B-double-E-double-R-U-N beer run of the
B-double-E.
century. We used to always sing that. I felt like it had to be sang.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
I
Thank you
know.
so much, Joe, for bringing that story to us
Seriously.
today. I'm glad you
Very cool.
Thank
you
for
were
letting me
excited to
share.
tell on the show
I
because
was.
as soon as you told me, I was like, "Can you tell us on the podcast?" Like I was so
Yes.
excited.
I really loved that.
As David Johansen says in Scrooged, gladly.
Gladly.
Niagara Falls, Frankie
We
Angel.
needed that too. Like that was like the story we needed.
Yes.
Palate
Feel
cleanser,
good.
right? That was
Yeah.
a little lemon sorbet for the end
Yeah.
of your meal, right
Because
there.
Before we
now-
talk about hell,
Lauren, who got
Give us some
murdered
true
and why
crime.
in
So-
2021?
So, Lauren, who's dead?
Who died?
I always talk about the true crime on this podcast. In 2021,
We had an interesting year
some
with true
crime.
crime.
It was an
Yeah.
interesting year. So I'm gonna kick things off with Gabby Petito.
I was going to say the most
I know.
famous
The most
crime
famous
of
one. I know that you
2021.
guys have heard about it, so we're not going to do like the biggest deep dive, but like just in case somebody out there hasn't heard about it, I was going to try and summarize.
Very quickly, I do want to say, because I saw a lot of things that are completely valid online of like, the amount of missing and murdered women of color.
Oh, I was going to talk
Every-
about that
oh,
at the
good.
end. No,
Okay,
it's okay.
no.
It's actually insane. No, we should say it at the start, actually.
Yeah.
It's better to say it at the start. The Gabby Petito case was unique because it like took over the nation.
Yeah.
Social media went insane and like great. People contributed amazing evidence, things that
Mhm.
were being presented on TikTok, on
Theories,
Instagram, on
yeah.
everything like really did help the search and contributed. So like it was very cool to see everyone come together. But then on the other side of it, we were seeing that this is something of like missing white woman syndrome that our
Yes.
country has, where if a young white woman goes missing, we all go insane.
Yep.
But Indigenous women who go missing all the damn time, and
By
in a
the
lot
dozens.
of cases, in this exact same area
Yeah.
that Gabby Petito went missing, nobody bats an eye. Nobody
cares.
like alerts
It's never
the
on
authorities. It is
social
not on
media.
social media. Nobody cares. That is very important to know, and that was another side that came out of this, which I do think is important to mention, that we all went insane for this case, and thank God that we did, because it helped. But, like, we gotta have that same energy for the women of color who go missing all the damn time in this country,
Seriously.
in the exact same area. That's what's insane, is, like, these hiking trails.
Yeah, I mean, and even
happens.
the search for Gabby Petito, which was extensive. I mean, how many bodies were found? There
So
was
many.
like 12 bodies
Oh, there's
that
all
were
these
found.
other bodies out here. Yes. That we haven't been looking
And it's like, can
into.
you imagine if we all looked for dead bodies? How many fucking dead bodies we'd find? My only thing that I will say about the Gabby Petito case, one, I agree with you. I think we should give that same energy to every single missing person's case. But the Gabby Petito case was a little bit different because it
was.
started on social media
Yes.
with her like
It was
blog.
publicized.
There was
Yeah.
something that you could follow along with
Mhm.
the blog and the social media, and I think
We
that's
had
what
such
made
a
it
timeline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had such a timeline. It was happening in real time.
Again, it's like, it's good that like we went for this case the way we did, because we had so much information and they made it public to us.
Yeah.
It just it opened the eyes of people saying like, hey,
What
look
about
how
us?
many so
And
many
I
people go
fucking
missing
agree
here.
with you, but I just
Yes.
wanted to mention that before we talk about it,
Totally.
because I know that was like a sore subject in 2021, as it should be.
Yes. It's like there need to be more conversations had about this 1,000%, but this was put in the public eye because, again, I'm going to do a little summary of this. Yeah, it's wild. So July 2nd, this road trip begins between a female named Gabby Petito and her fiance at the time, Brian Laundrie, who left New York to go on this cross-country road trip, and they were documenting every last bit of it.
Yeah.
They were very like, #van life, we're living off the road, follow us. They were putting it all out on social media on like every platform. So, as Ashley said, they were making it public to us. We were able to follow. So, okay, I'm going to like lightly go through this because, again, I think most of us know about this. So they set out on their trip. We're seeing their posts. They're exploring. They're in their van. Great. August 12th, as we're going along the timeline, is when we all see like the body cam footage. It's when they have that like big argument
Run-in
on the
with the
side of the
cops.
road where it
Mhm.
looks like both of them were hitting each other. They had to be separated, stay at like separate hotel rooms. But then Gabby actually ended up becoming the villain in that situation, because then it came out that she was hitting him.
Yeah.
But everyone watching the body cam footage ended up saying she looks like a woman who's been abused, the way she was reacting. So then all these theories start swirling. But that was the first time we saw footage of like, oh, they were going through some things.
Yep.
They had to be separated on August 12th. Witnesses had been watching them fight in their car for a while. Then we have August 17th through the 23rd. Brian Laundrie flies home to just obtain, he says, I was getting some things. I was closing my storage unit and like just tying up loose ends.
And home was Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Went back to Florida, tied up some loose ends, and then flew back out to meet Gabby again. August 30th through September 1st is when we have Brian Laundrie using a debit card that is not his and making some big purchases. So that's a thing that is flagged. And then September 1st, Brian Laundrie comes home alone in Gabby Petito's van, her van, comes home alone to Florida and just says, like, here I am. Gabby's not with me.
The end of the trip.
Goodbye. The trip has ended. I have no answers on where Gabby is. Everyone's like, hey, where's our daughter?
Yeah, basically her
is saying.
family
And
was like, hey, where's Gabby, our daughter that we love?
Not
And
He
his
was
word.
like, who?
Who's that?
Gabby.
Gabby. Yeah, what happened to her?
What did happen to her?
Huh.
Weird.
He has no answers. He just comes home, and that's the end of it. September 4th, it is said that Brian Laundrie purchases a new phone and opens a new account with AT&T. A little fishy,
Sus.
but it's just a thing. September 6th, Brian Laundrie casually goes camping with his family. Again, what? What are you doing? Your fiance is literally missing. September 11th, finally, the missing persons report is filed. Yeah, it's like this was the big day when like everyone really jumped on it and was like, oh shit, like she is missing. He came home. He's giving no answers. What are we doing? Her parents are like, okay, you came home without her. You're not telling us shit. So here we go. September 13th, Brian Laundrie leaves his home. It is believed that he was going hiking. The parents were kind of giving like multiple stories. They were being fishy the entire time. They're just like, I think he's going fishing, or I don't know, he's going hiking. They didn't know. So he leaves. September 14th, we get an abandoned vehicle notice. Laundrie's family originally said that he had been last seen on this date. They later said it had been the day before, that he left with a hiking bag, but then they suddenly say, oh, he has this abandoned vehicle. It was his Mustang outside of this park. September 15th, Laundrie is named a person of interest because Gabby is still meeting and he hasn't been answering questions. September 17th, Brian Laundrie is reported missing. Now nobody knows where the hell he is after leaving home. September 18th, the search really begins for Brian Laundrie. There's a federal arrest warrant issued on September 23rd.
Little late for that.
FBI goes home. What?
Little late for that.
Little late.
They waited till he fucking ran before they were like, you know
he was
what?
missing to be
Actually,
like, we should figure out where that guy. We should keep that guy around.
I couldn't believe how long it took them to be like, oh, we should look for this guy.
I've never once heard of them handling something like this appropriately.
That's true.
Every single one of these stories is like, watch a true crime documentary.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's true.
Yeah, he's fucking missing. They're finally taking it seriously. And it's like, this fucking coward
He's
ran.
gone now.
Because he's the one with the answers. So, of course, he ran. So then this search is happening. They're starting to, like, check his phone, surveillance video. That's when we're starting to get all the video of his parents' backyard. And people are starting to speculate, is there a bunker under their yard? Which, like, it fucking looked like there was.
It
like,
fucking
under the
looked
garden.
like there was.
Ashley, you actually showed me that.
Yes,
yeah.
me and Ashley
That's
talked about it.
the only thing I know about
other
this.
videos. The way it was set up looked like it was. It looked like there was a hand coming out of the
This was one of the
garden at one time.
conspiracies, guys, where
It was another
there was
conspiracy theory.
someone flew a drone over their house because his parents have been weird since the beginning. It was very obvious that they were
whole
either
family.
trying to protect their son regardless
or trying to protect their son. Yeah.
or trying to protect their son.
That's
You know what I
the
mean?
only
Like
answer.
trying to protect him because they loved him or trying to protect him because they fucking knew what happened
Yeah.
and they wanted whatever. And when Brian was missing, a drone was flown over their house and in their backyard. First of all, his parents are just like mulling around, gardening. It was their behavior from the get-go was very strange.
So bizarre.
They're very wealthy, affluent people in their area. And at one point, his mother was bending over a garden bed in the yard. It honest
looks like
to
she's
God,
passing something to a
looks
person.
like she hands something to another hand under this garden. And the video was so convincing that I was like, he's in the fucking garden. He's in the backyard.
I believed it. I really thought he was down there. And even the layout of their yard, this is why I love the internet, is people went to town being like, oh, this thing in the middle of their yard, that's the chimney, to make sure
Yeah, someone posted the basic layout of underground bunkers that you can buy, that you can not build your own, buy. And it was the perfect layout of the backyard with the shed and the two.
It fit the laundry's yard.
Yeah, completely. And I was like, I cannot. I believed it 100%. Yeah. Not sure if I don't still believe it, to be honest.
I mean, I do, but also, some weird things have happened.
We'll talk about it.
So they're on the search for him. We start to see these videos where we're like, fuck, is he in the garden? Then suddenly Brian's dad in early October joins the search and is like, I will help after all.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
And then October 20th, remains were found in an area that Brian Laundrie frequented for his hikes. And it was his parents, which again was fishy, who came to authorities and said, we found some of his belongings and also some human remains, and we think this is our son.
His parents, okay. This marsh was searched for a month.
Multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking bullshit.
His parents show up within the hour.
Yep.
That his parents show up for the first time.
Here's his backpack.
They not only found his remains in one area, but a backpack with a notebook in another area.
Yep.
I'm sorry. It's fucking bullshit. Well, supposedly they found out that it was him through his dental records, which leads me to believe it was at least a head.
It was some teeth. They're not telling us a ton, but it sounds like it was teeth ahead.
I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't dead.
Same.
I'm just saying, the fact that his parents decide the first time they show up to help out in the search, they find his shit within an hour. They know exactly where it is. They positive, come on.
Mm-hmm. I know. I agree with you.
Come on. It's like that's finding a needle in a stack of needles.
I know.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's complete bullshit.
It's
no matter
wild. What. They had searched this area so many times, and his parents are like, "Oh, here it is.
Here it is. Why didn't you look here with your dogs and your FBI units?"
I can't believe he didn't see it.
And then the next day, October 21st, by the dental records, it was identified as Laundrie. So then the country goes crazy. I was going to say the world. I don't know how involved the world is, but our country goes crazy of fuck this coward. I remember having those thoughts of if he's fucking dead, if he offed himself while he was hiking, that sucks because you had the answers and you took the easy way out, and I'm pissed. So they just say, okay, Laundrie's dead. Gabby Petito has also been found dead now out in Utah where all these other dead bodies are. And again, they find her body. I didn't even say this in the timeline because I was only focusing on Laundrie because fuck him and his family. But she had been found, as we know, a couple weeks earlier, and the autopsy revealed that it was strangulation that killed her. So she was murdered. Brian was the only person with her. Every witness account and body cam footage that we finally got says these two were fighting. It was abusive. It was physical. All of this has come out. Again, why the power of social media was important in this case is since then, people have come out on TikTok and said, I gave Brian Laundrie a ride on this date. Yes. It was right before he drove the van back to Florida. Gabby was not with him. He was alone. He said he had been alone the whole time. No, you can't lie. When we saw the Instagram,
exactly.
You guys were travel bloggers. It's just
and
it
also
is hilarious.
there were a lot of problems with the investigation as well. I saw a TikToker who got on, and she was like, "I found Gabby Petito's tumbler, her water bottle." with the exact same stickers, the exact same.
Yeah,
She was like, it was in
definitely
this
hers.
area that the FBI said they searched X amount of times. I found this water bottle. I sent a picture. I told the police I had it. They basically said, we don't care. She showed the bottle that she found, and then she found footage from Gabby's Instagram from like a couple months ago. The exact fucking water bottle is there, and the police did not give a shit
Shocking.
that
I
she
know.
found this evidence.
That's the thing, is like people were coming forward with like exact like photos and videos of the van and saying like, I saw it in this area.
Mhm.
I saw
was
like a
here.
weird guy.
I ran into
yeah,
them.
It's like I saw these people.
Cops didn't
Something
care.
was
They didn't
off,
want
and
my
they're
story.
like, no, we don't need that.
We don't
We
need
found
that.
Brian's remains.
We're too busy standing around looking busy.
Yeah.
We found his fucking
It was a
teeth.
frustrating case
It
for
was
a lot
so
of reasons.
frustrating. Like,
Yeah.
and that again, like we were talking about earlier, this case was unique because social media rallied around because we had so much evidence from not only their social media, but other people's, because this was a popular hiking spot
Yeah.
where she was found dead, where it was like, okay, all these people were here. They saw Brian alone, or they saw the two of them fighting. It was just all of it. It's such a unique moment, like for our country, for TikTok, honestly.
For true
like,
crime.
for
Yeah.
true crime and like the way that TikTok rallied around these people. But now it's sort of this case, unfortunately, is just like up in the air because
There's a
Brian
lot
is
of-
apparently dead.
Yeah,
So,
Brian's
you know,
apparently dead. There's a lot
so
of
sad.
hesitation for local law enforcement, which I understand,
yeah,
cooperating with, internet sleuths.
sure.
And we just saw this recently on the Tiger King documentary.
Yep.
We saw it in the documentary Don't Fuck with Cats.
Yeah.
We saw it with the Gabby Petito case.
Mhm.
I understand that you can't take every single, hint, clue,
Of
whatever
course.
that gets called in. We've seen that multiple times. The Zodiac case. How many people called in and gave like false information
Right.
on the Zodiac
Can't
case?
take everybody seriously.
Thousands. You can't take everybody seriously, but there has to be some sort of unit, person, something that is connected to social media or to internet sleuths that actually takes people seriously.
Right.
Because we have proven a couple times
Time and time again.
that there are people who don't have a badge and don't have a certificate that can figure shit out for
And
you.
don't have much of a social.
And don't have a social life and spend all their time on
I
the
know,
fucking
it's like,
internet.
we appreciate you because we get so many answers, but like, yeah, you don't.
Like the Don't Fuck with Cats people.
oh my God,
they were the
dedicated
only
all
people
of their time.
that, and they told the police, this guy's going to kill a person.
Yes. And they were correct.
And they were correct.
I know. And a lot of people on Gabby's case were correct. And the thing is, it was nice to see some of them were taken seriously. There were a couple
It's true.
TikTokers that
Yeah.
were like, they were posting a lot in the beginning, and then they came on and were like, hey guys, I can't say much more because now I actually
I'm
am involved.
cooperating.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
cooperating and I gave them my information, so I'm done here. And you see those cases. But then there's other people who, yeah, did go completely ignored.
Yeah.
You just sit there like, we have to figure this out because social media, it is a thing now, and we're all taking our pictures and our video,
Yeah.
capturing things, and we have to have
FBI,
this, like,
catch up.
you
Right,
gotta
Joe?
get on our level. Okay.
That's right.
Okay, but yes, we could talk about that all day.
Yeah.
I know you guys know about it. Again, now here's something that I will only like touch on briefly because most of us know about it. We talked about this when I had my sleepover a couple weeks ago. Robert Durst.
Bobby!
Bob Durst.
A lot of us know him from that HBO documentary, The Jinx.
Joey, why don't you give us a little
Well, yeah,
Bob
I want to
Durst
hear your impression
here.
and tell us, what did he say at the end of that doc?
What did you do? Killed them all, of course.
That's good.
And the
That's-
burping.
Killed them all, of course.
Real quick, though, Robert Durst is still more likable than his brother.
Very
Damn,
true.
true.
Very
Still
true.
more likable than his fucking worm, sleazeball, corporate fucking prick brother.
No, you're right.
God, can't believe that we like him more, but yeah. So we all know he was serving his life sentence in California for
Mhm.
killing Susan, his confidant, his friend who helped him through the shit that he did in his life.
Helped him with all of his murders.
Yep, was helping him with his evil doings.
And that's why she got popped.
And that's why she got popped. So we knew he was serving his life sentence. We were all super excited. That documentary, like, God, that is the gold that we all hope from a true crime documentary.
great
That's
doc.
why
The
he
gold
was famous.
standard.
But then, the moment we were waiting for, he finally, this year, 2021 recap, baby, this Week in Weird. Keep it weird. Welcome to the show. He finally got indicted for the murder of his wife, Kathy Durst, that we all fucking knew he did,
Who
but
went
we finally
missing
had enough.
in
78?
Yeah,
79?
it was like
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
it was over 40 years ago.
I was
yeah,
gonna say
it
80s,
was
but
like 4 decades ago, y'all. He finally has been indicted for this, but it has been a struggle to like get him out of California and back to New York to actually pursue this, because then he got hit with COVID.
COVID's a
He was
thing,
apparently
and
attached to a ventilator, but then they took a mugshot of him and he didn't need his ventilator, so then people started being like, how sick actually are you? Listen, he's
Honestly,
not well.
He's old as shit. He's going to die before the trial even starts. I can almost guarantee it, but I am
He's
just
going to die, but we're still
glad
excited. Yeah.
that they are finally putting 2 and 2 together.
He's being charged, and we're happy for that. Like, he's going to die soon, and whatever, that's fine. But, like, we all wanted that satisfaction of, like, yeah, we knew about Susan, but, like, we knew about your wife first.
Yeah.
And, like, when are we going to get
and
that?
also, don't forget about the dude you killed in Texas.
Hell yes.
That you already went to trial for.
Killed and dismembered and then claimed self-defense.
Yeah, and got away
oh,
with
no.
it. But I also, like, my thing with Bob Durst is that I think there are more bodies than those 3 people. Like, I know for a fact he killed those 3 people.
Yeah,
period.
we all know that for
But I
certain.
think
Long
he has
Island,
something
baby.
to do with the bodies
Long
washing up in
Island.
Long Island.
So many bodies
So many
washing up on the
bodies.
shore. You can't go to the beach these days without a body whirling up on the shore. It's terrible. I don't know.
terrible.
We have talked about this before, and
I
it's
talked
like
about it in the 90s
way,
episode.
We did. And the
Mhm.
way that he kills, to me, shows that like he's done this before.
The Long Island serial killer, the way the bodies have been found, which is like
Matches up.
in suitcases or in bags, dismembered into pieces. It's the exact same way he killed his neighbor.
It
And
matches.
it's probably the way he killed his wife.
It's the same area.
I don't buy it. I don't buy that these are the only 3 bodies, but even
I
if they
agree.
are, time to go, Bobby.
Yeah, I'm like, even if
time's
these
up.
were your only 3 bodies, only 3 is not a thing that we should even be saying.
Highly recommend everyone watches The Jinx on HBO if
Lord,
you haven't
yeah, if you
already.
haven't.
It's going to give you a breakdown of this entire case.
And also, for
it's
once, a
most
satisfying ending. I
entertaining.
don't even mind spoiling that, because I think a lot of us watch true crime docs, and they're amazing. A lot
Yep.
of them are so well done, but sometimes you do end, and you're like, dang it, but we still don't
Oh,
know.
but we don't know.
But this one ends, and you're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, he did
It's
it.
good. He did it. Okay. Another one that Ashley talked about, not on the podcast, but on our Clubhouse moment. The family that went first missing while hiking and then found dead 2
I told
days
Joe
later
about
under
this,
very
too.
mysterious circumstances. So there was a family that went hiking, and okay, listen. These people were, it's important to say these people were like avid hikers. They knew what they were doing. This is a
Yeah.
family. It's a couple with a 1-year-old little girl and a dog. That is the little hiking crew that went. They were originally from San Francisco, went hiking all the time, and then moved a little closer to the Mariposa area, it looks like,
Mhm.
and went hiking close to Yosemite. And
They were in the Sierra National
Forest.
Yeah.
So they were avid hikers, but I don't know if they knew how warm it got when they're not in San
Yeah,
Francisco. So
maybe.
that is like one thing that we can give them. But basically, John Garish, his wife Ellen Chung, went hiking with their daughter in this area in Mariposa. On August 14th, they were using an app to plan their hike in Devil's Gulch. And the next morning, like August 14th is when they planned it. The next morning, August 15th, they got off to an early start. They were hiking. They started at the Height Cove trailhead. When they began, it was about 75 degrees. So they were like comfy cozy in their shorts and their tank tops. But then they got into the gulch, and that day it was said to get up to a little over 100 degrees.
Yeah.
They were not wearing hats, and they only had 1 water bottle full of water and a little bit of formula prepared bottles for their baby daughter. So this is like what they were found with everything basically being completed. Like the water bottle was empty. The formula only had like a tiny bit of residue left. They were found on August 16th after a babysitter showed up for her normal shift and said, "They're not here. What's going on?" And then people went out to look for them where they were hiking. It took 2 months for anyone to discover what happened to their bodies. It was this big mystery because, again, they were experienced hikers, and all of them were dead. The dog, the baby, the parents.
It didn't take 2 months to find them.
No.
Okay.
They found them the next day, but it was 2 months of, we found these bodies because the babysitter alerted us that they were missing. We found them pretty quick. They were not that far from their car.
They were on a trail.
It was like, it looked like they had almost completed their loop. Their bodies were found, but it just looked weird because there were no gunshot wounds. There were no stab wounds. There was nothing to say there was foul play. It was just these dead bodies of these, again, I can't help but say, like, experienced hikers. All of their friends were like, they knew what they were doing. They told us about this hike.
I don't buy their explanation. It doesn't explain the dog.
Right. And the dog, we still don't know. Did you hear that part of it?
No.
That's the thing is like, okay.
All 4 of them are found dead. They've gone through every
toxicology test you can do.
Test.
Nothing
at
weird.
First, it was
poison algae.
Oh yeah, there was the poison algae thing. Like there might have been poison algae.
Yeah.
No,
We all know how common that is.
It might have been.
I know that you were maybe making a joke, but in the area there was, but there was none.
They
in their
tested
system.
it. Not that.
They were good.
They thought, oh, maybe it's carbon dioxide from the mines.
They weren't near any mines. No.
They thought, oh, maybe it's this from the... No, nothing. There was
drugs,
They
no
weren't
alcohol,
poisoned. They weren't
nothing.
drugs. They weren't anything.
No guns. No knives.
And it ended with that they died of heat exhaustion.
Hyperthermia. Yeah, not hypothermia, which we talk about. Hyperthermia,
Heat
which is just
exhaustion.
overheating. Yeah. And again, I think I mentioned this before. They weren't wearing hats. They were in tank tops and shorts. They only had 1 water bottle to their family, which friends even said was weird. Because again, they're experienced. They thought they knew, like, hey, you're going on a really hot day for this hike. None of them were wearing hats. They had 1 water bottle and a little bit of formula for their baby. Water bottle was emptied. Formula was almost completely emptied. And they were without hats.
There was a little water
laying
left
there.
in the water bottle.
A tiny bit. Because they were able to test
to
see if anything was weird in it. But the area where they were hiking normally would have been shaded, but because of fires a few years prior, a lot of the trees had burned down, so they didn't have any shade and were basically just hiking in 107 degrees for a couple of hours.
The baby.
With a baby. So it's saying
great
they're
parenting.
saying that's why they died.
I believe that.
But it feels weird.
But why did the dog die?
Why did the dog
die?
die?
Dogs have instincts.
Yes.
There's a water source nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Why would the dog not... The natural instincts of the dog, to me, would be to go away and seek a cool area.
A cooler area and
Under
a water
rocks.
source.
Yeah.
Even if it had been the toxic algae water source, but again, there was no toxic algae found. So it's like, why did
the only
dog
thing that I'm like,
seek the water?
Eventually, your natural instincts kick in. Even if the dog's like, this is my family. Eventually,
they would try to be like, go
if the
this way,
family died, for
please.
example, dog would eat the family. Like, that's what happens.
survive.
That's what happens with your natural, instinctual, whatever. If I die in this apartment, Penny's going to eat me. She loves me very much. She's going to eat me.
But that's why it's funny you say that, because when you look at any summary of this case, it's like, hey, we've given our last report. This family died of hyperthermia and we're closing the case. Still don't know about the dog, but
What
we're making an
about the
assumption
dog?
that he also died of heat stroke. And it's like, did he? Did he?
Case is closed. Heat exhaustion.
And probably that's what happened to the dog too, but that is how it was left.
Sad.
Super sad.
Yeah, either way, it's horrific. That makes me so sad.
I also feel, why did it take 2 months to tell us they died of heat exhaustion? Isn't there a way to tell that from the toxicology?
Were very quick, aren't they? Not like overnight.
Maybe I'm just being a conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying it's weird.
I know nothing. I'm sure there's going to be someone who writes in and is like, do you know how toxicology works? And I'll say, no.
I would assume that not only is there a complicated scientific process,
Right.
I would say that there's an even more complicated bureaucratic process that takes place beforehand.
Joe hitting us with those truth bombs once again.
I'm sure that a lot of different
Just
forms
open
have
that
to be
door.
signed by a lot of different people.
You're right. You're right.
I know I've been talking forever. This case is wild, and I haven't seen anybody post about this in our Facebook group. But have you heard of the Murdaugh murders down in South Carolina?
I have not.
No.
There is an unsolved double murder of a mother and a son from a prominent legal family in rural South Carolina.
Oh.
That has been going on since June, and there are a lot of twists and turns to it. So there's a kid named Paul Murdaugh. He's 22 years old at the University of South Carolina. Him and his mother, Maggie, age 52, were found shot to death at their expansive estate in South Carolina on June 7th.
Wow.
Alex Murdaugh, the father and husband, found them and called 911 saying, I just happened upon these bodies. I just got
It was
home.
Alex. It was
I
Alex
don't know what
Murdaugh.
to do. I know. That's what you would say. So, law enforcement has released very little information about this case, but it's known that 2 separate guns were used and that the bodies were found outside and very far from each other on the estate.
Shit.
No suspects have been publicly named, but one of the family's lawyers recently said, I think it's personal. At the time of the death, Paul, the son, was facing 3 felony charges because of a boating under the influence charge from 2019. There was a boat crash that killed a 19-year-old girl, a friend of his named Mallory Beach, and also severely injured 2 others. The deadly crash spurred a ton of lawsuits that they were going too fast, that all the kids on the boat were drunk. But it got dismissed for a very long time because the Murdaugh family is like
Wealthy.
they're wealthy and they're lawyers in the town.
And that's why they're dead.
And exactly. And they're friends with the cops, all the things. And like, of course, that's why they're dead. It's like, it's just a movie playing out, you guys. But it got swept under the rug for a long time. Finally, it came back into investigation, and they believed that Paul, the son, had possible obstruction of justice in the case because he was lying and he was saying, like, I didn't drink, blah, blah, blah. So now it was coming back to the surface. He was going to go to court for this after it being swept under the rug, and then he got murdered. So then, 3 months later, Alex Murdaugh was shot in the head on the side of a Hampton road.
The dad?
The dad. 3 months later was shot in the head on the side of a Hampton country road, in which he later confessed to police, like a week later, because it immediately looked fishy, that he had orchestrated the whole thing so that he could give his one surviving son, Buster, his $10 million insurance policy, and he had to make it look like he was shot instead of committing suicide because then the insurance wouldn't have paid out.
That's true.
So now, because he admitted it, because they were all like, you didn't fucking commit suicide, we can tell. Or like attempt to commit suicide. He now is facing charges of conspiracy to commit insurance fraud and falsifying a police report. So his lawyers say that he was just trying to help his son, but also they're saying like he definitely had nothing to do with his wife and his son. Like this was a personal attack. They're sticking to that. But then it comes out he had been stealing from the law firm like millions of dollars and had actually been let go shortly before the murder of his wife and son. And also, after this fake suicide or attempted suicide report, he got put into rehab for drug addiction because he was out of his mind on painkillers.
Holy shit.
So this guy is like stealing money. He's on drugs. He's not looking great, but he's still on trial and saying like, no, it's all fine. So he is still going to trial and all of this still has to happen. But then more stuff starts coming out besides him stealing money, faking his own death, all the things. 2 weeks after Paul and Maggie Murdaugh were murdered, the police announced that information that had been obtained during the investigation led them to reopen the death of a 19-year-old boy named Stephen Smith, whose body was found along that same road that Alex had faked his suicide back in 2015. Stephen Smith's case went cold after investigators and medical experts could not agree on whether his death was a hit and run or he was killed elsewhere and placed here. There just wasn't enough evidence, but his mom always fought and said he was murdered. Someone was after him. I know this for a fact.
Shit.
And now it is coming out that the Murdaugh family was involved with this boy.
Shit.
And probably did it on that same side road. And then it also came out there was a separate death investigation on September 15th into the 2018 death of the Murdahs' housekeeper and nanny. Gloria
Rich
Satterfield.
people, dude. Rich fucking people, dude.
Seriously.
I'm like, I feel like I'm reading a soap opera, but that's why I was like, how have we not talked about this? Gloria Satterfield, age 57, used to work for Alex and Maggie Murdaugh for about 20 years. She was their loyal nanny and maid. She was injured in a fall in their house, and she later died in a hospital. And everyone at the time just chalked it up to she fell. She tripped over something and fell down the stairs. But as things have started coming out, they're starting to look into it and are finding out that her family has always been, like, very suspect of the Murdahs and said that their mom was, like, saying some weird things.
Yeah, she probably saw something or found something she wasn't supposed to see. She got pushed down a flight of stairs or something.
Exactly. So, and it has now come out that an autopsy was never completed because they just said she just fell and it was fine. They left it at that. So now they're also reopening that case. Also, like, Alex Murdaugh's attorneys are basically just like, we don't have much at this time, but they're going forward with the case. He, again, sticks with that he didn't murder his wife and his son. And honestly, after hearing the story, I don't know that he did, but I'm like, I also don't doubt that many people are after you because you guys have also killed off other people.
Sure seems like you're involved in something that causes a lot of people around you to turn up dead.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
You might not be pulling the trigger or having somebody pull the trigger, but there's no doubt that it's because of you that these people are dead.
Yep. Oh, and also...
And your son, who apparently killed a bunch of people while being a drunk little rich kid on a boat.
A drunk idiot on a boat, exactly. One more little fact is, like, on top of the nanny and housekeeper, like her autopsy never being performed and them just leaving it at that, Alex Murdaugh, the father of the family, said that he would pay their family all of this money because of what they went through with their mother dying and they never got the payout. So they're also suing on that. On top of the investigation being reopened, the sons of the nanny are saying, we also want our money. This case is wild. Stay tuned because Alex Murdaugh still has to go to court and there's a lot happening, but yeah, Lord in heaven.
Wow.
I know. My.
Shit. You're right. That is like a soap opera.
Crazy.
But it definitely...
I can't believe we've never even mentioned it. I found it and was like, hello?
Hello? No one? No one. Well, that's the thing about, you know, quote unquote crimes like this is that not only do these people know police, they have connections in that area, they have connections with media too. Like, why would we find this out?
Yeah, they've been keeping it quiet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's fucking crazy. All right, to wrap up the show.
Yes.
This hasn't technically happened yet, but it's going to happen next month. And holy shit, we are launching. And by we, I do mean me and Lauren.
It's us personally.
It's us.
So remember our names.
Joe's helping. No, I'm just kidding.
Joe is an assistant.
NASA is launching the James Webb Space Telescope on December 18th, 2021. This thing has been delayed time and time again for years, but once it's up there, and of course, if we can successfully launch it, according to NASA, there are about 344 different ways it can fail. Not the most chill.
That's it?
That's it.
But that's all.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
But this telescope is so powerful that we will be able to look at every phase of cosmic history.
No.
Including the first glows after the Big Bang that created our universe and the formation of our galaxies, stars, and planets that fill it today. What?
It's too wild. I'm obsessed with it.
Guys, I joked with Joe that the 18th is when we're going to be pulling into Illinois, and wouldn't it be crazy if we saw like this giant being pulling apart stars and creating a universe, and everyone on Earth went absolutely fucking bonkers, but there we are nestled by a fire in the middle of nowhere, like with a bunch of like dry food storage. But
just being like, well, sometimes life just works out.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. The frustrating news for us and scientists is that it's going to take about 7 or 8 months to even see an image.
Rude.
But I want it now.
But I want it now. Call J.G. Wentworth. 877 cash now.
I need instant gratification.
Basically, this telescope is going to launch from the French Guiana on the 18th. It will travel for about a month until it reaches an orbit of about 1 million miles away from Earth.
Zowie.
During those 29 days, Webb will unfold its mirrors and unfurl its sun shield. The process involves thousands of parts that must work perfectly in the right sequence.
They won't.
Stressful.
That is so much pressure.
Built by the lowest bidder.
Then it will go through a period of commissioning in space that lasts for 6 months, which involves cooling down the instruments, alignment, and calibration. All of the instruments will have to be tested from Earth. Then it will begin to collect data, and the first images will come to us later in 2022. Thousands of scientists and me, Ashley Cassidy, have been waiting years to see what Webb will show us. If this thing works, it will change the world. And some people, no one's been waiting longer than me. Even the scientists are like, this is new to us, but Ashley Cassidy's
Ashley was here on day one.
She's got her finger on the pulse.
She's on the ground floor of this project.
Some people listening might be like, wait a minute, hold up. How can we see the past? Well, please let me refer you to Season 3, Episode 23, entitled Wibbly Wobbly Timey Wimey Stuff, where Joe, Handsome Joe himself, explains quantum physics and time dilation to us.
And
Thank you, Joe.
do a horrible job of it, might I add.
Fabulous job.
Thank you.
No, really did.
You really did.
No, I've pointed it out to
understand
other people to be like, if you want to understand more, because I fucking didn't, here you go.
Here you go. This is a funny guy telling you.
You taught us.
The simplified version has to do with the speed of light in a measurement we know as light years. So if you look at a star that is 30 light years away, what you will be seeing is light from 30 years ago. The same applies to stars and galaxies that are millions of light years away. And the mirrors that are set up on this telescope, you guessed it, will allow us to look at our own galaxy, which is pretty fucking cool.
Take a look at yourself in the mirror, galaxy.
So this time next year, we should know how our galaxy was formed, and
Really
either
freaking
we'll
cool.
see you then, or the world will be on fire.
See you then, or I will
maybe
see
both.
you on another time.
Or maybe both.
As Paul Rudd said, and that's kind of how it feels in that situation. See you never.
That's all the time we have for 2021. Keep it weird.
Fuck
How
you,
does it
2021.
That's
feel?
weird.
Yeah, it's
That is
really
really
weird.
weird
We're
to
ending it
say.
very early this year.
And
It
just our
feels
last time being
strange.
together in this
I know.
living
I
room.
can't talk
I'm
about
not
it.
well.
I will cry. Thank you guys so much for listening to our show and hanging out with us in Season 5. We want to make sure we have a Season 6, so head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/keepitweirdpodcast and donate to our show so we can keep this party going. Joey, thank you so much for joining us today.
Seriously.
We love having you
my
on the show.
Pleasure. Thank
You're
you for
such a
including
gem.
me. It was wonderful getting to record with Lauren again.
No.
It's been a while, and I look forward to more three-way recording sessions.
Oop.
Oh,
with you
you
two.
said it.
We really do hope to be back with you once more this year if we can for a Christmas special or a three-way, which will be found on RedTube. Is that a thing still?
Oh, I was going to say OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.
You can find our three-way on
OnlyFans.
RedTube.
RedTube, OnlyFans.
Thank you in advance for being patient with us when it comes to episode releases on the Patreon and getting back to messages and emails, etc. Make sure you follow us on social media at Keep It Weirdcast or join our Facebook group because we will keep you in the loop on everything we've got going on. And definitely check out our merch store on TeePublic by visiting www.keepitweirdcast.com/merch and get yourself something nice for Christmas. It may not be fair. It could be seen as a real cop-out. But Joe, what's our sign-off this week?
Fuck, God damn it. I knew that's what you were doing.
That's not a fucking cop-out. That's the best.
Sorry, that's kind of our
Ready,
thing.
Joe, give it to us straight.
You should have seen it coming.
I know, right? Like,
I
have you ever
always-
even been on this show?
Have you ever been on this
Always
show?
forget.
Are
I
you even
forgot until
engaged
you
to
were
Ashley?
like, Joe, and it was like, fuck!
Yeah. It's rough for you, huh?
I like to think about the lessons we learned.
In the spirit of the
Friendship.
ending of chapters and the beginning of new chapters, I'll just say, see you around.
Baba Booey.
Baba Booey.
And also, Baba Boo.
Baba Booey.
Baba Booey. And keep it
Guys,
weird.
see you around. Keep it weird. We love you.
We love you so much.
Speaking of shout outs, I do want to give a warm welcome and a huge thank you. What are you doing?
Just partying.
Honestly, just partying.
Thought it was a party. Thought you guys were cool. You blowing up my spot? What's going on?
If you had said anything else except for just partying, I would have been mad. No, I wouldn't have been mad either way. But that was hilarious.
Just partying.
Just partying.
I'm just partying. Isn't that what we're doing? No, it's
God,
fine.
I
We have
hope the mic
bubbly. He
picks
has,
that up.
you know,
He's
the
got
smokes.
As you were.
The
some other
smoke.
stuff.
As you were. Don't worry about it.
Damn.
Oh
All right.
my
Speaking of
God.
shout outs,